got my mind. Got my mind.
Changing, it just reminds me of you. The rain is come and gone, and this old town is back to life. I just wanna see you. Let's get out and wind down, paint this town, and I'll live for this moment. Get carried away, or we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll laugh, dance the night away. crazy and I need some time to catch my breath. Do you feel the same way too? I shake out the work week and I feel this freedom sinking in. I just wanna see you. Oh, let's get out, wind down, paint this town. And I live for this moment, get carried away. Oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll rock, dance the night away. All we've really ever got is this moment. Yeah, yeah. We've only got one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. One chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. We've only got one shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. Only got one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. Only got one shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. For this moment, get carried away. Oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll laugh, dance the night away. All we've really ever got is one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. Paralyze my heart. Don't wanna feel your touch like ice tracing on my scars. Why is it hurt on the inside? It's unforgivable, but I forgive you every time. Hard to let it go, 'cause we're intertwined. I break you, you break me, but something about it makes us whole, baby. Every piece keeps us together in the cold.
I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. But you were calling me a liar, 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 liar. Yeah, I've been putting in the hours, I was. And it's coming down to now and now and now and now and never. I was putting in the I'm sick of fighting the things that you said. I don't wanna burn all our bridges ahead. I'm tired of going to bed when you left me on red just to turn up the noise in my head. I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. You were calling me a liar, 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 liar. I've been putting in the hours, I was. And it's coming down to now and now and now and now and never. I was putting in the I was putting in the
changing. It just reminds me of you. The rain is come and gone, and this old town is back to life. I just wanna see you. Let's get out and wind down, paint this town, and I'll live for this moment. Get carried away, oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll laugh, dance the night away. All we've really ever got is this moment. Things have been crazy and I need some time to catch my breath. Do you feel the same way too? I shake out the work week and I feel this freedom sinking in. I just wanna see you. Oh, let's get out, wind down, paint this town, and I'll live for this moment. Get carried away, oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll laugh, dance the night away. All we've really ever got is this moment. Yeah, yeah. We've only got one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. One chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. Only got one shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. Only got one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. Only got one shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. For this moment, get carried away. Oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll laugh, dance the night away. All we've really ever got is one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it last. Yeah, we've only got one shot, it goes too fast, so don't waste a day. Let's make it last. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Summer ocean, it sets you free. Summer ocean, it's where I'll be, floating down the wide open sea. 'Cause where in the world would I rather be than summer ocean? We're about to take off. It's what dreams are made of. Fly to the ocean I love.
저는 다른 팀들이 잘해줄 거라 믿고 있기 때문에 저희 팀만 잘하면은 문제 없을 것 같아요.
说就是这几年国际赛成绩都不太好，可是我们一定会拿下胜利。
LPL이 그래도 이제 LMS랑 베트남 팀 상대로는 다 전적이 좋기 때문에 딱히 걱정하는 부분은 없어요.
Chúng tôi đội tuyển Việt Nam chúng tôi đã có sự chuẩn bị rất là kỹ càng và các bạn phải coi trận đó.
딱히 해줄 말이 없긴 한데 승리는 가져갈 수 없을 겁니다. 결승전으로 가는 것은 LPL이 될 것입니다.
就是我觉得当选手就是最重要就是赢下比赛，没有什么事情是比赢下比赛更开心的事情，所以无论今天对手是谁，我都要想办法赢下来。
Bọn em sẽ cố gắng hết sức là làm theo đúng chiến thuật đề ra để có thể có được kết quả tốt khi mà gặp Nam Quân.
这次我将会拿下你的。
잘해야죠. 네, 보여줘야 되니까. LMS나 VCS도 뭔가 되게 자기의 색깔을 아직 보여주지 못하신 것 같고 그냥 플레이는 좀 재밌게 해야 된다고 생각하는 저는 그런 주의거든요. 꼭 결승 올라가서 LCK랑 좋은 경기 나눠보도록 할게요.
When pain is starting to face and you're at the bottom, and the darkness of the night is moving on you. Oh, when the fears ruins locked away are alive at the surface. Who are you leaning on? Who are you leaning on? And when the worst you can imagine feels like it's coming, who are you leaning on? Is it him or you leaning on?
Rift Rivals 2019.
Welcome, everybody. We are back here at Rift Rivals 2019, the Eastern region. I am Valdez. With me are two very young gentlemen, Papa Smithy as well as Razzleplasm. Going to be my first TriCast. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're doing LPL versus the LMS and VCS. How are you guys doing today?
Doing damn well. I mean, sadly, of course, being able to put ourselves in the semifinals, that's something you shouldn't feel happy about. But after the last game of the group stage of IG being able to take down SKT, there's a lot of hope here for the LPL.
But for you, it's just a glimmer, right, Raz? Yes,
okay,
IG beat SKT, but I'm sure you're sitting there surprised that the LPL is playing in this matchup. I think everyone assumed it would be LCK versus LMS. We think we know how today is going to go, but we thought we knew how the tournament would go.
Yeah.
And so far, the script a little bit off. Would you be surprised by anything other than a 3-0 to the LPL today? And would that also rattle you? Because, you know, China right now, listening to analysts, myself, you included, we came in really high on the LPL. And yes, it's a couple of best of ones. What business needs to happen today for you to actually kind of be confident?
Clean performances. I think the draft should be incredibly important. I know a lot of people are talking about how, like, what changed from 9.11 to 9.13. Priorities of champions that we saw nearly every game in the LPL, being Rise and Silas, have now changed in priority. So that's something that we need to be seeing in changes from FPX in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do see the standings so far. LCK, as we did mention, only taking one loss. That was the last game of the group stage. SKT going down to IG. And you can see LPL there in the middle. Had to play today up against LMS and VCS, who have yet to win a game.
We had a small loss as well. Of course, LS was scheduled to be on the caster desk today, but unfortunately hasn't pulled up well from yesterday, so will not be joining us. But we do get the LPL representation for this match, so that part is a little sliver there. Now, also point of business, not the first time we have had LPL versus LMS in the semifinal 2 years ago. The first Rift Rivals in Kaohsiung. It was, in fact, this matchup. LPL came in as 3rd seed on that day after 2-6 in the group stage, went on to win the whole damn thing. That was a 5-game series between LPL and LMS. It is today LPL versus the LMS and VCS United team. And unfortunately, the only real business to discuss on the LMS VCS side is, can they win a single game at Rift Rivals 2019?
Yeah, has been a bit of a mark on their record so far, and you can see they're going to throw out the Flash Wolves here. Flash Wolves having a pretty decent game. We saw yesterday, you and I, Raz, were casting that one up against IG, had a very good start. They're going to be going up against JD Gaming here, Gen.g Gaming from the LPL. We'll see how they can do for this first matchup.
Yeah, and if we're talking about teams from the LMS and VCS that have the best chance today, it's going to be Dashing Buffaloes and the Flash Wolves. They're the team that also were progressively improving, but improving is not enough. You need to be able to take a win. And if we're just talking about expectations in the tournament, this is technically the best shot you have here. JD were the weakest team coming in if we're just talking about from the LPL teams. And Flash Wolves simply just need to be able to keep the leads. Enzo, for me, has been a good performer working alongside Rather, but whenever they have those leads, they tend to fumble it because they don't know what the next point of focus should be.
And your hope is that when it comes to pick bans, Flash Wolves know what to target. I know you and I were talking about this. If you get the right bans, if you take away some of those picks, Jingdong might fall apart a bit. Let's listen to Flawless and his thoughts on the match.
한국에서 거라서 좀 긴장이 많이 됐었는데 그냥 하면서 많이 적응한 것 같아요. 이렇게 완벽하진 않지만 완벽해지려고 많이 노력 중이기 때문에 많은 응원 부탁드립니다.
Yeah, so good to hear from him there. Just a couple of words coming into this matchup from Flawless. We'll see how he does do coming into this matchup.
We won't even see him, and I think that's going to be the surprise. While Flawless is coming out, making that statement, we're actually going to be seeing the Griffin Lone of Kanavi coming into the jungle. But to round out the lineup, Zoom in the top lane, Yagao in the mid lane, Imp and Lu Mao rounding out the bot side. But Kanavi is going to be a surprising one.
And it's a really exciting one for even LCK fans who knew this guy was around, went on to op.gg, looked at the top 10, you'd always see the name Kanavi. And you're like, wait, who's he? You'd check his role. Oh, he's a jungler. Never mind. We're always going to see Tarzan playing. Cool that Kanavi's gone over. He's actually going to be playing today, which is super, super hype. Only a single game from the records there. Seems like it wasn't a notable performance. So in front of a home crowd, it'd be really cool to see him make his name.
Yeah, definitely interesting to have him come up against Flash Wolves and their standard lineup, Hanabi, Enzo, Rather, Betty, and Xiaozi coming in here. Same thing we saw yesterday, Raz.
And I just want to see the jungle focus be a point, because to your point about Kanavi, the big issue that we saw in that one game of performance and their reason why they went back to Flawless was simply communication. JD as a team went through quite a few junglers. I'm just referring to when Clid left, they tried a few out. They had Levi in the lineup as well. But the reason why they set with Flawless has been in China for quite some time, has been integrated with Chinese teams, and they really stuck with him because, A, he's a great early game bridge in the team, so his style is well known, and he understands the lineup that he has in front of him, and that's been the major issue that they've had with Kanavi. It's going to be a good opportunity to be able to see him play.
And it might give us some kind of scientific experimentation on the chicken and the egg. Because are JDG that way because they're used to Flawless? And if you replace them with a different style, because Kanavi could evolve to be different, to say Clid, for example, and Flawless, what could the team become with a different look?
Yeah, it'll be cool to see what Kanavi can do. We've seen a lot of other players from the LCK come out behind the starters and actually become great starters on their own teams. But we are going to be jumping into the pick ban right away for JDG versus the Flash Wolves.
Going up against JDG, if you are prepping for them, it's very easy what they've been picking out. They have very focused picks here. I mean, you look towards Imp. the Kaisa has been just the only AD carry he's been playing. And in the LPL playoffs, teams just target bandits. So that's a big focus. Of course, also the fiddlesticks for Lumao.
The thing that really kind of leaps off the page is if the bot lane gets going, JD Gaming get going. So if they can get one of those good ranged matchups like you mentioned on the Fiddlesticks, you definitely know that Lumao will try to fish for it. The Nautilus priority this tournament, it started with a Freak of Freaks in the LCK. We're like, okay, first picking Nautilus, that seems a bit bold. It is rising up in priority again and again, both at this tournament and on patch 9.13 so far. By the way, guys, point of discussion, we are on patch 9.13, Mordekaiser and Kiana global banned, otherwise everything open.
Yeah, and you will notice we talked about this one big pick, the Jungle Silas. You know, we're here on 9.13.
First round, huh?
Yeah, coming out here being banned right away.
That's been the biggest change of red side bans have been, you know, coming into the tournament, we expected Sejuani to just be instantly banned on red side every game, but that's been changed since, you know, Silas has been the counter towards the Sejuani. You're able to have, look, scale alongside it, have the ultimate to be able to snag from her.
But something has to slide if you're banning Nautilus, if you're banning Talia, Ashe. The blue side bans in general are fishing for OP champs, at least by 9.12, 9.11 standards. We talked about Lumao on a range support. If you're talking enchanters, you don't get much stronger in lane, even after the small nerf to the Yuumi. So the Yuumi is a really big pickup here. It's at the cost of traditional OPs like Sejuani. I know the Nico priority in the LPL and other regions super high and evolving to be that in the LCK. So something's got to give. And the first pick on the Yuumi is the something that's got to give.
Yeah, but it looks like what JD's trying to do is just get counter-picked towards Flashful's matchups here, because while you have the Yuumi, Lux is such an easy counter pick there. So what they're just trying to do here is give Kanavi the best matchup, knowing that perhaps the jungle must be picked up. But, you know, the Nico is what they're responding to.
And I think counter's a little bit strong. The Lux is going to be hovered, not locked in just yet. It is very good at negating some of those annoying Q trades.
Yes.
But if you gank that Lux one time and put her on the back foot, then Yuumi's getting free harass, and she doesn't care about Flash. She doesn't even take it on the Yuumi side. So there is ways to play around it. And Flash Wolves, they'll even hold their horses a little bit. The bullet hell duo, we've already seen it in the LCK. We're loving it in this tournament as well. I played all those shmups back in my day, 1942 and Galaga and all those things. We're not going to get it this time, but I still love it.
Yeah, they are going to move away from the Lucian, pick up the Kaisa here, just look for a little bit less lane presence and maybe towards the team fighting later on in the game.
Has ultra comfort on it. Now I would focus towards what the possible mid lane picks would be for Yagao, simply because with so many of the first pick rotation like Silas mid, being taken away in 9.11 going into this one, Ryze is a big option too. You know, he's been going back to Zoe and Jace, and so those are the two champions I would expect him to focus on, but going into the second phase, might be banned away by Flash Wolves.
And it is worth knowing that that was kind of one of the unsaid things about the LPL struggling a little bit in the best of ones in the first 2 days, is the jump from 9.11 to 9.13, the skip over of 9.12 that we have for a couple of weeks in Korea, was a pretty rough one. That's a patch where a lot changed, where Silas, where Ryze were largely removed or changed in a significant way, and it changed draft a lot in Korea, and it's something that China is a little bit behind on. The Renekton is something they were way ahead on.
Yes.
Gonna be locked in. We don't know for sure that it's gonna be top lane. If it is top lane, you can add a jungle Elise and get a lot of power. Renekton Elise feels like every meta is gonna be relevant if you want to camp top lane. Had one jungle ban so far from Flash Wolves, they might consider another one.
But they'll still get the strategy down type because, you know, Rek'Sai is still available, the Elise that you already mentioned. They're a team that still plays to Zoom quite heavily. You saw the tent that was placed towards Nuguri, in the top esports game, and the same, a similar style towards topside exists within the LPL.
But it's very interesting. My question on the side of Flash Wolves is the Nico so far has largely been a top lane pick. Maybe a couple single pick to rather when we're talking about the LMS stage. So if you notice the GP ban, they're kind of relieving pressure from the Renekton. If it does end up being the Nico, it's a little bit better than kind of the horror matchup we had yesterday for Khan on the Camille. Renekton is just more robust in the early game, but it's still range versus melee, and if you can keep your distance, good things usually happen.
Yeah, so we are going to move on from the second phase of bans. You can see a couple of junglers there on the right side of the Flash Wolves, as well as the Olaf taken away. Flash Wolves looking to jump on a jungler here and leave that Nico question for the flex still available.
So far, trying to apply pressure when it comes to early priority, the Rek'Sai with a lot of bans so far. Definitely was sticking out, 67% win rate, but only a couple of games played so far. JDG looking to round out a combo. Gragas Yasuo opens, always deserves some lip service, but Gragas himself, the big man, has been just a priority jungle pick. Makes extra sense with all the bans.
Yeah, and JD have been finding success with just outright pick compositions. Their mid game has been strong as of late with a 3-series win streak within the LPL before coming to the event. So the Gragas makes a lot of sense. Now focus towards Yagao because as I already mentioned, the two champions being both the Jace and the Zoe, great poke opportunities that you have, so can make it so they can just focus on Siege once they get priority in lanes.
And that's one of the small surprises that Zoe isn't going to be banned in this game after a great performance last time at Yagao was that super hard carry. And they're going to opt into physical damage solo laners. Now, the Kai'Sa has most commonly been AP in this tournament, so there's definitely going to be the Gragas and the Kai'Sa probably holding the line there. Flash Wolves with full information. They're going to be picking for top or mid. This is final pick. They have the flexibility. Looks like it's going to be the cannon for Hanabi.
All right. I like the Akali hover because one thing that really made it difficult for JD when they went up against Griffin was, Imp wasn't able to pick up side lane waves going up against the multiple assassins from both Akali and the Talon. The assassin in the side lane would really make it so Imp would fall behind and would have to pick up, dual experience and all that mid lane.
But I'm going to hold my judgments on the comps 5v5 now because the question of is it press the attack or is it AP is so relevant for Flash. I saw the Ken and I thought, oh boy, we're team fighting. If we fall behind, we're going to have some struggles. We won't even get to fights. It could also be the on-hit. The Shy brought back the on-hit Nico to great effect yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely have to wait and hold our horses and to see exactly what the runes are going to be coming into this one. As we mentioned before, we're really setting the stage here for this first matchup. The LMS and VCS region still looking for their first win, whereas JDG want to continue here and get it started strong for the LPL.
Yeah, and one thing I want to see from JDG, once they get into the mid game, how do they start those fights? With the Yuumi available and the Renekton in the top lane, it's a hyper focus on Kanavi now. Communication issues have been rampant for him when he started out for the team, and now he's going to be the point of focus to get the fights going.
What a big stage to have that redebut, looking for that first victory, and if it's not a victory, the question marks will begin. So let's start off this best of 5. We think we know how today will go. Anything off script, and suddenly the tournament's thrown up in the air.
Could be very exciting as well if the Flash Wolves could come in here strong for game number 1. But you guys saw the screens already. Looks like we're all loaded up. Let's jump into game number 1 right now. Well, here we go, guys. Big chant, as always, for all the LPL teams that have been coming out here. And, well, it's definitely interesting to see Ding Dong Gaming coming out here first. And we'll see what they can do on this already, getting a little bit aggressive on the invade at level 1.
Already scouted on awards. They were aware there were so many people bought. So I'm going to have a quick pause to start the day.
But I love the fact that we're able to get that kind of vision before we got into the pause. Whenever there's a Yuumi team, if it's Yuumi, Olaf, Kai'Sa, doesn't matter. Early level 1 invades are fairly easily placed down. So you can get the early vision so you can see where the jungler end up pathing if he starts bot side anyway. So it's going to be a good early advantage for JD if that's the case.
And Papa got what he wanted because we got to see the Keystone coming through from the cannon. It's going to be the Kleptomancy, so it's going to be the AP cannon on that. Sounds like there's a lighting issue going on, so it seems like a bit of glare. It's getting some little things. That's a good thing to get sorted. We don't want to have anyone not being able to see their screen, to see the gray that comes in later, potentially. But without going for press the attack. So my first thought was, if it's not press the attack, this comp from the side of Flash Wolves will struggle in the late game to come back. You very much won't be able to have real agency on the game if you blow all your flashes and can't actually get your farm on. A teamfight comp does struggle to kind of flip the script and get back in unless the enemy makes mistakes. But then I thought about it longer, and remember, Flash Wolves comes in way out of form, 7th out of 7th in the LMS. And yes, while they had a pretty good game yesterday, you can look at Flash Wolves champions, Sivir, Nico, Kennen, almost 2 Nikos or 2 Kennons, given how similar Ken and Nico as champs. And you can say easy to execute. If you know how strong you are, it is very easy to execute Flash Wars comp because you all press your ults and you hope for the best.
But it depends, right? It depends on how good the vision control is. If, you know, Hanabi or Rather can get that flank, fairly flash reliant too, or hoping that Xiaoxi can get a double binding.
I'm just saying, if the alternative is 1-3-1 comp with a mixed language roster and a team that's not doing very well, we've seen Jin try it. We don't love to see that. We want to see the easy comps from the teams who aren't in great form, and sadly for Flash Wolves, a very proud name that does include Flash Wolves as of today.
And it's interesting, you know, you talked about the first game we had yesterday where they did go up against IG. They certainly put on a good performance, but now they got to do it once again, and they actually have to get a win and get off to a good start.
With the early vision that Kanavi has of blue, what's possible is going to be, you know, possible vertical jungling. I want to see if that's ever a possibility here, simply because Imp and Lumao have good control in the lane starting it out. So if they get the first push on Betty and Xiaoxi, that could be the look here.
Yeah, the big takeaway for people at home is going to be that there were 3 buffs that were warded by JDG, and Flash Wolves have no advanced vision, so the Gragas can go for the selfish 3-camp clear bot side and not lose his blue buff, or be in position to steal away the enemy blue. So it guarantees Gragas a safe enough early game. No surprise that the lane with Yuumi, first picked in this game, is going to have priority as of level 1. Lux gets going when she gets all 3 skills.
Yeah, for now, just shielding up, trying to survive. That's really just the name of the game. You guys talked about in pick ban how that Lux is going to be very strong, at least at negating some of that power in the lane from that Yuumi. We take another look at the top side. You were talking about the Camille versus the Nico yesterday. Now it's a bit of a similar one with the melee Renekton up against the Kennen up there. We'll see how Zoom can do in a rough matchup.
Thankfully, as the Renekton, you kind of have everything to be strong in this matchup, and obviously you either just dominate melees or you're the best of the choices of melee lane bullies when it comes to ranged opponents. You have a bit of sustain, you do have, if the minion wave is around, a lot of gap close, and on-command targeted CC is never to be trifled with. Your jungler chooses the right time, and it's pro play, you got the perfect comms. There is definitely kill pressure onto a squishy cannon.
And take a look at this. Zoom is actually not putting himself into trade range, recognizing that it is going to be a vertical jungling, so he doesn't put himself into dive possibility. So clearly pretty well done from Zoom, but of course he's going to be in a pretty large CS deficit.
And yet, never turret dive or Renekton. Free advice for people.
Yeah, don't do it.
Especially if he has above 50 rage. He'll get the free double kill and some double buffs if you make the mistake there. So given that Kanavi was naturally pathing over to the enemy blue, just good top laner sense from Zoom. Good look from him. Bit different from his GP days that I think a lot of people first learned about Jingdong, because we have to kind of remember that Jingdong, most popularly known as his team, that made the Cinderella run after Caps bigged them up as his pick to do well in LCK Spring Run, all the way to the final, then started off pretty soft, and they were, what, 0-3 after the first 2 weeks?
Yes.
It seemed like that the hype train had derailed, and yet, talking to you, there is still a bit more optimism recently about Jingdong and Sam.
Yeah, because they play up during the under the pressure. Going up until this event, remember, having that 3-series win streak. And whenever it comes to JD, I mean, ordinarily, you would look towards Zoom and Flawless, essentially, being the strong points in their weakest moments. But whenever they start up, they're actually fairly unexpected. Who comes out ahead? It's usually Imp and Lumao. Great mid-game that they're able to come out. Really not getting the resources from their jungler, but being able to get 2v2 kills.
So as a question then, it's maybe have to hold that as Kanavi can walk up top, probably mostly for pressure here. I feel like I know what a Jingdong victory looks like. I was alluding to it earlier. If bot lane is way ahead, Imp's going to carry, we're going to get over the line. What's a Jingdong kind of definite loss? Like, what's a state they find it very hard to get back from?
Simply losing out lanes and not having any ways to impact it. That's been the problem.
Might have to cut you off there, Kanavi. Deep in the jungle, going to be found up by the Tremor Sense, and he is all but dead here. First blood going to be given over there to Hanabi. Great read by the side of the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, the call was nice and early on the side of the Flash Wolves, and they come down and contest him. The camp respawn timer was clear, and the moment they were decisive on it, Zoom, he had a minion wave. That was his first priority, and Hanabi had a really long leash to walk over, help his jungler, and just profit from the first blood.
Missed the context on this one, but they saw him going in towards the Krug camp. Thought that he was out of vision, but unfortunate. Hanabi's going to be able to catch you alongside Enzo.
And you're not even going to have the benefit of kind of time on your hands when the Tremor Sense is there to spot you nice and early. You can very decisively park over the wall. Kanavi, we talked about how it's only his second game on a mixed language roster here on Jingdong Gaming, replacing Flawless, who's sitting out this game. No public words on to why, but unfortunately for him, is caught out. It's not the end of the world. He is on the scaling pick. Rek'Sai, yes. We always focus on how much work did she get done in kind of the first 15 minutes, the turret plates phase of the game. It is still, as we can say, a mistake from the side of Jingdong.
But the question that you asked is really happening, right? The point about if they lose, like, what does it look like? Oftentimes finding themselves in CS deficits, they rely on their jungler to be, early game points of pressure. A gank coming through mid lane or bottom lane to be able to get them steering ahead. Because when they ordinarily pick, really, the only one that has a positive matchup would be top lane. And even then, he would be rotating pretty consistently. They would be moving, rotating towards other lanes to see if they can find a fight. And if it doesn't happen, if the enemy team has enough vision to be able to catch it out, then they'll just be naturally losing out in the lanes.
And this game, at least Yagao has a pretty good matchup in mid, right, against the Nico. As Jace, you're going to be pretty reliably able to just farm away. And bot side's been winning in the 2v2 early, so that part is nice. But
exactly.
I kind of agree with you. That's what I've noticed, a pretty similar trend there. At least Gragas has the benefit of not 3 losing lanes around him, so he'll try to farm it up. He'll try to salvage things, but for now, at least, we're very much in a lull state here. Nice CS from Imp so far, 76 already.
One thing I want to point out is the nice, teleport award behind Imp and Lumao. It could be really handy for Hanabi, especially since he's post 6. He needs to get a good shove out in lane, especially, communicating well with Enzo, who's bot side of the map. Imp and Lumao are actually playing really respectfully here, so that might not come to fruition. They might be able to even catch the control ward sitting in the bush.
They're running around Kanavi pretty well here. This is the lane where they had priority bot side, right? You can tell from the CS numbers, but Flashwell's going to get free access to this. Gragas on the top side is going to reveal himself, but the Drake might just be dead.
Yeah, Gragas coming all the way down from the top river. They see him coming all the way, and the smite will be there at 2 health. We've seen that before, but it looks like after getting that Mountain Drake, the Flash Wolves, you mentioned the lack of priority, but they make the objective happen anyway.
Great control wars just surrounding the, the dragon. Both mid lane and bot side was just warded up, so they didn't even have an idea that it was happening. So by the time Kanavi got there, 2 HP on the dragon.
And it's a really good read by Flash Wolves because, yes, it is against the expectation. It's not where they usually had priority. So now I'm just going to take a love tap, we'll say, from Zoom. The reason why I want to talk about it being a nice proactive move is it's at 8 minutes, so there is no objective on the top side that you can take for free. There's no counter Rift Herald available when you just invest everyone at a precise timing. They knew Kanavi was top side. They got a free objective for it and no trade possible. Only now does Kanavi walk up, and all it's going to do is zone Hanabi for the start.
And so in the right place at the right time, and clear comms catching out Yagao moving top side. This is usually the play that JD relies on to get their leads going for themselves, but already Flash Wolves are prepared for the day.
Exactly. Enzo's in position. It's so obvious because the play on bot side has to be countered by a cross-map play. So Rek'Sai in position.
Holy
moly!
Lumao taking a giant trade, but they've blown all their mana. You can see him trying to get in there, but he can't quite do it. That exhaust very late as well. The TP's coming in now. Betty not in the best of spots, trying to make an escape, and he gets the kill on the backside even. And Zoom here also TP in, wants to make it happen. 1v3, Yagao a little bit far behind. Lumao gotta heal him up, give him that speed here. The Zoomies coming on in, and they want to dunk onto Hanabi as well, but Zoom's gonna go down on the backside. So much death and destruction here in this fight.
What a great response by Flash Rolls. I mean, the teleport came through from Zoom, but who would have expected Betty to be able to get a response kill in that position?
JDG was so panicked in that play. It seemed like they were being super duper reactive after 2 health bars were almost donated to Flash Wars 100-0. Let's go through the replay because a lot happens here. First, everything lands. This is the old Lux, AP Lux state of hit everything, one shot. Miss anything, not possible. The cat is already out, and then Imp gives up his whole health bar trying to buy time for Yagao and Zoom.
Great response teleport as well. Yagao coming in just to help Imp, but remember, he doesn't have mana off the back of this, so he has to fully commit to get the auto attack, even ignites to get the kill on Sivir. So Sivir expending quite a bit of resources there.
And the minimap is interesting because this whole time, Rek'Sai gets to farm, and yes, Gragas does pack up to try to join, but Gragas doesn't get there. So Flash Wolves are able to trade out more than you expect, and Zoom did not think he would die at the end.
Out of all of that, the big winner was still Yagao. 2 kills off this one play alone, so he's going to be coming back into the lane where he had a CS deficit to begin with.
You know who's not coming back to bot lane? Apparently the duo lanes. They're running straight at Rift Herald. It spawns at 10 minutes. This is the new meta. Got to fight for that Rift Herald as fast as possible.
And you can see that the Flash Wolves, they know this is happening. They don't exactly have much vision on it, but they can see them coming on in there. They had to rotate Zoom on over. He doesn't have TP, so they're going to try to trade a couple of turret plates over to Hanabi in the bottom side.
And let's vocalize the points that we held off on, not knowing which Kennen rune we're seeing. If you can keep up in the game in terms of gold inside of Flash Wolves, you have a very reliable teamfight comp. They may not be picking up the Rift Herald now, but they're getting gold onto Hanabi. They're ahead in gold. This is not a game that Flash Wolves is just an unwilling passenger on. They're actually in a comfortable spot, and we might have a very even game number 1.
You can see what the Flash Wolves are doing. They're just rotating everyone down into the bottom side here. They want to get that first blood turret, even though Jingdong were able to get that Rift Herald.
They got the Rift Herald, but they didn't jam it, Raz. They're really holding on to it. Again, unsure about the communication there. But first turret against the Rift Herald.
Yeah, not only Kanavi going to clear a camp, but at the same time, it's more of a credit to Flash Wolves because they fixed the wave while it was all happening. Fully pushed the top lane wave into the tower while they were making the move to the bot side, so it's finally coming out.
Gonna have to be a defensive move here. Don't want to give up 2 turrets after taking the first turret down, but there's a lot of guerrilla warfare happening. Kennen stealing away a red buff under their noses. JDG aren't going to be following up this play here, so it's not a big gold lead by any means, but if Sivir comps are up 500-600 gold, definitely can't be too worried. And the Flash Wolves development just over this tournament after being, what, kind of dictated to by SKT on day 1, it's kind of been clear for everyone to see.
Yeah. Them having a better performance versus Invictus Gaming, and also talking about the Dashing Buffalo's performance to follow up versus Griffin, those really, it made it clearer to me that they were improving to a rate where I was happier, you know, being able to commentate them on today's games.
I mean, it's tricky. I'm with you, Rats. I mean, unfortunately, the LMS is 0 and 8 alongside the VCS, right? So you're trying to find kind of silver linings.
Anything.
But you're not. But you're also trying to be genuine, trying to be legitimate. So it's nice to genuinely say that Flash Wolves have made some good moves here. I like how they attack the very predictable Rift Herald start from JDG. They've gotten a lot of gold onto their cannon, and you picked the wrong team fight. Even with Jace, Renekton, really early spike champions against double pen proto belt flash up cannon, you're going to be exploded.
We'll see if they can actually make that happen. We talked about it before. I think Raz mentioned how the Flash Wolves, they can get a good early game down. They can get ahead even. Then they struggle a little bit in the mid game, and some of their macro aspects can kind of fall to the wayside. So now with another Drake up, I wouldn't be surprised to see more fighting here. Let's see what happens.
A good thing to Flash Wolves' composition with both the Nico and the Sivir is that they're always going to be fine in wave clear. Wave clear is not going to be an issue as long as Betty is in the right position. So all of the movement that JD is having here, there should still be a good point to be contesting for Dragon. In this case, don't know about this, he has teleport, but I don't think you want to be expending the 4 seconds to be able to be there for the fight.
It was really good minion wave management from JDG. Just the fact that that was the option they had with Hanabi's teleport and Radha's teleport down. Didn't want to give up minions, end up giving up a free Cloud Drake. JDG could potentially look for more. Zoom starting it off.
They're looking for it. You can see Imp is right there. The double pen is available though, and the stun up to MPS to flash away, and the flash away from that one on the Yuumi. Somehow he's able to get away.
Hanabi's living a charmed life, but JDG were just trying to give the kill to him, but trying too hard. And it's another meanwhile axe situation, and back at the ranch, they're taking top lane turret.
Well, it doesn't get closer than that, as you can see that they were able to take the bottom side at least, but an answering turret in the top side by the Flash Wolves.
Just want to see what we get up here. Of course, the gold, turret plating gold, bot side. I think it went towards Betty on that one, so it's nice to be able to see Flash Wolves coming up ahead, especially this play coming in from Hanabi. Not only does he fully clear the wave, the ultimate to stun down Imp while he's taking turret aggro there.
It's very strange for Zoom to completely disengage that hard early unless he's 110% sure that Imp's going to burst him down. Yes, it's a burst build when you go down the Muramana into the Rage Blade route, but the mana mune's not fully cashed in. The cannon's ahead of the play. That's a 0-2 cannon, sure, but they kind of tried to be cool guys, don't look at explosions to zoom, and it almost exploded on the side of JDG.
I mean, we saw it the last time, you know, when Kanavi was caught in the jungle. They didn't waste any time blowing double flash. The Flash Wolves at least says, I'm going to have to hold that. They found Yagao, and they put him in his grave as he was just going for a walk in the enemy jungle.
Another hole in communication. Kanavi was there, but wasn't alongside him. Just another death there. At least he held on to Flash.
Now, no ult here, so can't get the full value out of his item just yet. Gonna walk away here. Spear Shojin, TFT favorite, Renekton favorite as well. Doesn't have the ultimate. The perma-stun you can get from Spear Shojin Renekton is disgusting. But for now, at least, we'll have to hold on to that.
Yeah, Renekton has to rotate here just in case the siege comes across from Flash Wolves. But them being able to find those picks, a lot of it comes down to, you know, the defensive wards they had in their red side of the jungle. Right now, Flash Wolves been on top alongside Enzo. So Enzo having a fantastic performance to start this game off.
And it just feels like JDG are trifling with them a little bit. We saw the turret dive play. That was clear. Yagao went on a merry walk, Dora the Explorer, through the enemy jungle with no vision or priority. Got killed. If you don't have vision and the enemy has a Rek'Sai, then you're taking just too many liberties for me. So JDG need to take a deep breath, step back, understand that yes, they are in a decent position in this game. But so are Flash Wolves, and again, on paper, and it doesn't always go this way, but on paper, I see a lot of AoE wombo on the side of Flash Wolves.
I'll have to put that to the test when it does come down to these team fights, but so far it's been a lot of, you know, trading turrets and trying to go for dives and little pickoffs like we saw to Yagao. Finally, Ding-Dong are grouping up here in the mid lane, but as you mentioned, Raz, they have wave clear for days on the other side.
But remember, there's a teleport ward up and available. Hanabi's going to be comfortable where he is right now, just in case.
Minion wave to pick up on the top side, so the ARAM play will abate. Flash Wolves are very well suited, as you're alluding to, Valdez, for the ARAM. They're very happy to sit there and wave clear and wait out for their time. And so far, they've been on more on point around vision than the side of JDG. So you want Renekton in that side lane applying pressure. You want Jace taking down turrets. But speaking of taking down turrets, Flash Wolves are the ones walking up now.
Yeah, already on it. The only point of concern I had with Flash Wolves' composition is if they could get the setup so the Kennen and the Nico could find that great, you know, ultimate engage that we're looking for. But, I mean, their teleport ward placements already, this is the third one that I was able to see, have been great just in case the siege is coming through. Compositionally, Flash Wolves have it versus JD.
And JDG are not actually making smart vision plays. They have no control wards on the map and none in the inventory, just the Yuumi, who right now is leashed to Yagao. So they have actually no map vision. Both sides of the mid lane of a Jace Renekton comp are control warded by the Sivir comp. It's very much JDG trying to play straight down a lane, barrel down ARAM style, because they can't afford to go anywhere else.
And it's just straight up not working. I mean, they're trying to push it in every time, and it's like the Jace gets one or two pokes onto the turret, but then all the minions are gone. As we mentioned, you just can't really push into this comp, but they're just going to continue trying it anyway.
It's super bizarre. JDG have to reset. They have no priority anywhere, no vision against a Rek'Sai. Don't often see this at the highest level, but they've already looked a bit nervy today with some of their play, and again, Kanavi coming in kind of compounds that. Just keep it simple, is what we always say. Keep it simple, so the kids' strategy is what JDG need to do right now, because they seem rattled, even if the game hasn't gone away from them yet. They still have time.
And speaking of which, you know, this early game has abated. We're already up to our third dragon here. It's going to be another Cloud Drake that it looks like perhaps this time the Flash Wolves are considering taking a fight over.
Yeah, I mean, if JD's Manamune stacking and you see, you know, the Sivir build going through. Oh, Betty's out of position here. Just got to watch out for that. Both teams have incentive to just dragon stack and just look to farm up waves for their items. So that's what I'm looking forward to. We might see another Elder Dragon game coming up.
All about those 45-minute games, Raz. They're new to you, but we are veterans here in the LCK. Now, JDG have brute forced and freshly shopped and run at Drake. Flash Wolves, despite having the vision control before, are going to be slow. There's going to be second to it. Will they force a fight here? They're spotting, but JDG already out.
Yeah, you can see Hanabi was considering it up on the top side, but it was just a little bit too little too late, and already Dingdong were on the retreat and able to get out of there.
I think it's fine to be respectful, though. I think Flash Wolves are in a better position than they would expect.
Oh, okay, we're looking for it. The fighting comes down, but Zoom is going to get locked down by rather a fantastic follow-up there as the Flash Wolves will get a kill and a turret.
And do they run it Baron is something you could consider. We're post 20 minutes in this particular game. Now, they don't have a vision. They haven't reset for a while, so Flash Wolves, if you look at their lack of control wards, probably have to back away. They choose to do so with a kill and a mid lane out of turret.
They got great bait and pick within their composition, though. If they're able to regain control, rather, though.
Oh, boy, you can see the burst damage. Kanavi just going to flash on him there as a nice little rotation up to the top side by Yagao and Kanavi.
It's a really smart call from JDG to be proactive now. Whenever you press tab and see the enemy very obviously is late to a shop, go in there and fight them and make them accountable before they have their new slick duds, their new items from the shop. And that was really well done here. Gonna see the replay of how this happened. JDG just catch Zoom on a walk. Gotta say, Flash Wolves have found it very easy to catch the JDG players roaming between lanes. Yagao and Zoom both guilty of it, but Yagao gets to actually return the favor. They find rather his ult's down. He's got no chance.
Yeah, typical. They didn't think that they would still be on the map or going proactive, as you would say, after getting a pick on towards Renekton, but just cluing in. Not only did Betty have no mana, but to your point, rest of the members needed to shop at that point.
And now I want to see JDG play to their items, because if it's just 5v5s, honestly, I look at the right side of the screen and I say, the items just look nicer on the side of Flash Wolves. They've got Merlin on Comp Protobelt. That's a team fight build, ready to go for the cannon. They have the Zonias ready for some team fighting, and the Glacial Augment procer in the GLP. Meanwhile, yes, a lot of burst from the build onto him. That's the trade-off there. Don't have the Storm Razor for the 2 evolves. You want to blow one person up is usually the way this starts. Does have the 2 evolves now with just a freshly stopped Stinger. But then you say, Spear of Shojin, Black Cleaver, that's the solo lane build. The Flat Pen on the Jace, that's for sieging. Can JDG play to their items? Because if they play to a 5v5, I'm loving the Flash Wolves.
I know this game is just going to be a lot more, aggro, a lot more action-packed, just to the point of, item breakpoints being hit by those Jace, Kai'Sa, and of course the Flash Wolves members you've mentioned. This is the time that they feel like they can strike.
Absolutely. So now, once again, Dingdong considering coming down the middle lane here, but that minion wave, you can see how long this mid lane turret is just going to survive. We're at 23 minutes into the game, and it's not even down below half health.
Yeah, the most they can do, as you can see, is Taxi are pushing mid lane into invading the enemy red, which does give them Baron vision. Yagao gets an EQ off. It's a nice start onto Xiaoxi and Betty. The shield was a little bit late there from Xiaoxi, not on time Kench duty today. They're walking up, they're posturing, but how much bark is behind this bite?
Ooh. You can see it, okay, the bite comes as they're going for a bit of a dive here, already able to take out Betty, but here's Hanabi from the top side. But a lot of stopwatches come in, and they're all surviving for an incredibly long amount of time, and Dingdong are somehow able to win the fight underneath the Cannon ultimate.
That was the setup that we were looking for Flash Wolves, but by the time the Cannon teleport comes through, JDG already got the work done with an excellent ultimate from Kanavi.
It's an ultra-decisive play from the side of Dingdong, and it needed to be. It didn't look possible, but they saw something that wasn't there on the enemy side. They're going to start up the Baron, trade tank. This should be a Baron out of nowhere almost for JDG.
It kind of just felt like the Flash Wolves were floundering under their own turret. This is taking forever, by the way. Xiaoxi's going to get in range. Can he actually? Nope. Okay. Smite is going to go the way of Kanavi.
Again, this is a Sivir, a Nico. You don't think a turret dive is possible. The Cannon already had started TP behind, but they're proactive, and the cast from Kanavi is really nice. Sivir and also the Kai'Sa are traded at the start. They die first for their teams. The stopwatches are still good, though, between Exhaust and the stopwatches. Hanabi doesn't blow people up. That's one way to get through a game where you don't have the right vision. Get your stopwatches, make it about you, and hit everything perfectly.
Yeah, there we go. You better be happy after that one, because the coordination, just the follow-up from the cask, is something you need to see from a team that's essentially testing Kanavi on those points.
And it's pretty YOLO, Raz, because the last two, they've failed execution on turret dives. This one was almost an all-in. This was very much kind of a cards face up. I'm going to hit the Royal Flush on this one. They do, and the payoff is massive.
It is quite massive. You pick off a Sivir and you exhaust the cannon and you take that entire team fight strength away from the enemy team. So the execution was there. They're able to pull it off, and that's credit to Jingdong Gaming here. We're going to pick up their third Cloud Drake. We're going to have a really fast Jace in particular in this game.
But now the Cannon and also the Nika will find it harder to wave clear, and the 1-3-1 Renekton and Jace are going to find a lot more purchase on their pushing. They got the appropriate vision down. So the 1-3-1, the ARAM kind of play that we saw, was looking a bit anemic, a little bit sad, but with the Baron, it babies it and makes it a lot stronger.
They're able to just push on in here, and all that wave clear is not going to be enough under this amount of pressure. And down finally does go the mid-tier 1 at 26 minutes.
Yeah, able to put more members up there, able to take down things. We're going to look at the damage dealt to champions in the entire game. Probably the notable one is how much Jace poke has actually landed on the side of JDG.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense that they're starting to play towards them right now. Actually, take a look at both sides of the jungle. Completely control warded by JDG, so they can just move through mid, go through top if they have the wave rolling for Jace, or go to bot where Renekton has firm control.
And the turrets are falling one by one. The 1-3-1 is incredibly strong here. Yagao just laughing at the turrets right now. Doesn't need any Drakes to make this one quick work, as another one goes down on the top side and the bottom side. Let's see exactly how they want to approach this. We got a nice little wave down on the bottom side, and it's only Rather here.
And they're so staunchly staying to 1-3-1. They do not want to line up for the Flash Wars Wombo. Now the stopwatches are on cooldown. Mid lane goes down too easily. JG break the base on their first Baron in 2 spots, it looks like.
They're just going to be losing everything at the same time. Betty doesn't have any mana to his name. Hanabi got poked out, has to go back. So that's one inhibitor. You'd expect them to take this bot lane turret and inhib to follow. Getting a base off of, I think Imp is going to teleport back, you'd think.
Well, it's not every day that you see the Baron taken and then everything just fall to pieces like a house of cards. This is just, it's like you're burning the house of cards right now, as every single objective is just being taken off the map in the span of 2 minutes.
This is mass teleporting, no respect for flash rolls. They don't seem to really know if they can fight or not.
I mean, 6,500 gold lead from the Baron. The Baron buff power play is immense this game, and Flash Wolves have done so much good work. We were talking about how narrow the win conditions were for Jingdong. It shows you the one proactive dive at the right time, close 20, and all their early game mistakes slide into what now feels like a vice grip on the first game of the day.
It just felt like 2 minutes ago, Imp was just starting his build into the Rabadon's death cap and nearly has like the entire damn thing built out. This is ridiculous. The poke comp that was focused around Yagao now has Imp who can just burst down members if he can hit them.
And if you're asking what should Flash Wolves have done after losing Baron, it's try to force somewhere. Because unfortunately, if you draft as clear a comp, we mentioned if it's not press the attack, they're 5v5 or bust. If you then fan out to 3 lanes against a Baron when your wave clear doesn't work like it used to, then actually you're just saying, thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much. There were donations to JD's side. There are too many though. They were too generous on the side of Flash Wars, and now, however nice the 5v5 is, it might be too late. The gold lead out of nowhere is a comically large 7,000.
The team fights, the 5v5s you're referring to, they looked a lot better in the mid-game when the gold was a little bit even. Now they're down 3 inhibitors, and now they're down 7,000 gold as the JDG team is just pushing them in right now, already going at the Nexus turrets.
Sewer minions are coming in well coordinated too. Teleport coming in from Kennen.
All right, this is going to be their one try, but look at Enzo. He's already solo, just going to disappear off the map. Hanabi, he's late for work, but it doesn't really matter as they're just going to stun him out of this fight. This game is over. GG here at 29.5 minutes.
I mean, you can hear from the Korean casters as well. Just, I wouldn't say disbelief, but more so just feel like a gut punch. You saw such promising early portions of this game, but it really felt like the moment that Baron play was made, not much Flash Wolves could do.
It's one of those games where you feel more relieved than anything else. This is not the game to jump up and pump your fist up in the air like Doinby for Rogue Warriors and that massive victory over Kingzone 1 year ago at this tournament. Especially the coaching stuff, I'm sure, went very quickly from ripping out their hair to being like, all right, we got the victory. This might be our Rift Rivals done. We come back with a victory. We did not let down the LPL, but they'll know that when the VOD review comes, there's a timestamp where JG players will want you to start from. Awkwardly, it's about 24 minutes into the game.
Somehow, the entire house of cards just came crashing down in the span of about 5 minutes after that Baron. And once again, it's another game where the Flash Wolves look really good in the early game. You know, they're getting a lot of objectives, playing aggressively and doing things right, you know, up against some of the pressure they had even in the bottom lane, getting the first Mountain Drake, but then just all of a sudden, one team fight goes the opposite way, and it's like they're not even on the Rift anymore.
And realistically, if there was going to be a game that was won, for me, it felt like it was going to be this game for Flash Wolves, because Coach Ohm is known, especially since Spring Split, for throwing in the subs, let's say week 10, the last week before playoffs. They threw in Kanabi here, and he actually played well. Still, Flash Wolves couldn't do too much about it.
Yeah, we're going over the final replay where they just tried to throw a team fight at JG, but unfortunately for Flash Wolves, it was too late, criminally too late. In this scenario where you lose Baron as a team fight comp, go the Fnatic route, put some control wards in a brush, get somebody, and don't allow yourself to lose 3+ inhibitors in one go.
I felt like there were 2 to 3 moments in which I looked at Flash Wolves and said, I mean, you're on the map when you shouldn't be. Like, proper back timings were in order. Like, when they had, at the very last moment, you know, 3 inhibitors being pressured, there's no purpose for Sivir walking around without her mana.
I think, awkwardly though, for both teams, the kind of like movie title for this is failure to launch. I think JDG were pretty poor to open up the game, but then when it came to when you had to engage, Flash Wolves also didn't press those R buttons. So it was a very interesting first game, both teams feeling each other out. It is a best of 5, a different type of best of 5. These two teams may be done for the day. We're not to know. All we know is we're just about ready to throw it to an interview on the JDG side.
Yeah, we're almost there in just a moment time. I'm going to hand it over to the translator. Let's hear from Imp in the interview.
Victory for LPL on the first semifinals game. We have Imp from JDG. How do you feel about your victory on the first game of the semifinals? No, we came out as first. We believe that we didn't perform as well as we expected. However, we're great that we got the dub, and we hope the other teams within our region to get the rest of the dubs as well. What were the focal points that you guys cared the most? No, the biggest thing was that we just gotta do what we has always been doing and play very well and take the dub. So were there periods where you were anxious or worried about the game? No, we just made a lot of blunders, so we just tried to clean it up as much as possible. How do you feel about participating in the Rift Rivals here in your home soil? No, we haven't been doing too well thus far in this year's Rift Rivals, so we gotta clean up and do better. Now there are still the rest of the series gonna go on. Any words to your LPL brethren? Keep on fighting, boys. That'll be it for the interview. We're gonna come back after a short break. Thank you.
You'd be bad, bad, bad. I know
看后面的凯兰，看后面的凯兰。如果凯兰绕后击就打他。看一下前面，看一下前面，看一下前面，看一下前面，看一下前面。你不怕，不用怕，不用怕，不用怕。我给凯兰虚弱，我给凯兰虚弱。
拉个字。
凯兰来不了，凯兰来不了。
这个打。
啊，那미안해요。
easy。
啊，对不起，我的菜。
没事，那就可以。
changing, it just reminds me of you. The rain is come and gone, and this old town is back to life. I just wanna see you. Let's get out and wind down, paint this town, and I'll live for this moment. Get carried away, oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll rock, dance the night away. have been crazy and I need some time to catch my breath. Do you feel the same way too? I shake out the work week and I feel this freedom sinking in. I just wanna see you. Oh, let's get out, wind down, paint this town. And I'll live for this moment, get carried away. Oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll laugh, dance the night away. All we really ever got is this moment. Yeah, yeah. We've only got one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. One chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. We've only got one shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. We've only got one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. We've only got one shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. One shot, it goes too fast. Don't waste a day. Let's make it live. For this moment, get carried away. Oh, we'll make the most of tonight. Yeah, we'll drink and we'll laugh, dance the night away. All we've really ever got is one life, one chance, so don't let it slide. Let's make it live. Yeah, we've only got one shot, it goes too fast, so don't waste a day. Let's make it live. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Summer ocean, it sets you free. Summer ocean, it's where I'll be, floating down the wide open sea. 'Cause where in the world would I rather be than summer ocean? We're about to take off. It's what dreams are made of. Fly to the ocean I love.
저희가 이겼으면은 그래도 1등 할 수 있는 기회가 있긴 했는데 어쨌든 제가 못해서 졌으니까 2등으로 내려와서 이제 3등 팀이랑 붙게 되는데 거기서라도 더 좋은 모습 보여줘서 올라가서 한 번 더 이제 LCK 팀이랑 붙어서 좋은 모습 보여드리고 싶어요. 지금은 그래도 약간 열세로 보이지만 더 좋은 모습 보여줘서 우승할 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
对于半决赛，就是因为已经是最后一轮了嘛，就是放开一点打，就是希望大家都不要打得那么保守，因为对线上已经不太会有优势了，所以尽量用前面的碰撞去赢他们对线。
Welcome back, guys. We are here at the Rift Rivals 2019 in the darkness there for just a moment, but we are ready to cast the second match here. It is going to be Top Esports up against Mad. We'll see how this matchup does happen. Once again, another LMS team coming out here. What are your guys' thoughts here on the second matchup going into this one?
I'm honestly excited to see Top Esports continue to perform. I know that they ended up losing the last time we saw them going up against Damwon, but they're incredibly quick, fast. Big change here is going to be Moyu in the top lane, XX in the jungle, Knight in the mid lane, Loken and Ben. But to talk about Moyu, we've seldom seen him in the spring playoffs actually. He came out to replace 369. He's a great Kennen and Jax player. A lot of the time he's split push focused. When he first showed up in the LPL, one of his greatest weaknesses was like, tunnel focus on split pushing and getting, collapsed on 3v1, the top lane special. But he's really worked on that and has been a real great power in team fights.
I got to admit, I have a negative association with Moyo. It's nothing to do with him. It's the fact that whenever I tuned in to watch Top, I wanted to see Marin play, and he ended up taking his spot. So I was always super sad to see Moyo play, but he is a talented player in his own right. Here is the lineup coming out of Mad Team, and a very notable sub, Rock. Their substitute top laner is actually playing AD carry. We saw Breeze just yesterday, so this is a bit of a head scratcher, guys.
So what I'm against when it comes to, LMS and VCS taking this matchup, I want to see them come into this one throwing everything they can in the first two games. Dashing Buffaloes is what I would have wanted to see here, so they don't go 0-2 before they hand it off to what I would see as their best team. But they throw in Mad Team. They come in with Rock in the AD carry position. I'll say bot lane position because I'm expecting maybe something like, Soaz and Bwimpo-esque. Just throw in double bruiser perhaps. At least throw in the kitchen sink. You saw the light interview that Kongyo gave us.
They did say they were going to play more aggressive, so here's to hoping that it is something along those lines. The other thing to speak about there is maybe just Poppy first round and work out where it's going later. Raffle it off. Kongyo is most played as the Poppy jungle got banned, right? So who's to say we can't have some spicy stuff?
I think guaranteed already, just through the rosters, that we will have a bit more of a spicy game here, just compared to what we have seen. A lot of Renekton.
Hey, wake up.
In these
Who's
regions.
he peeking at?
Wake up. All right. And I'm sure Top fans will want to see them wake up because the loss to Damwon, look, it was a very competitive game, but it ended up just being Damwon outlasting him. And the top lane camp was so severe in that game. I'm sure Rock, when he was told he was subbing in, was like, wait, I'm not sure about that. I don't want to be camped top lane. But then he's going bot lane, so he's staying away from the fire.
And that's the thing that I wanted to focus on because, Loken came in and talked about his quote-unquote poor performance. He had multiple people in his lane. That was just the trade-off of getting 369 ahead in the top lane. It was just that, at the end of the day, enemy team has Vladimir Nuguri. You're just going to get blasted through team fights. And Top Esports feel that they can play better. But what I'm really worried about is what we saw, or at least I'm happy about. I'm worried for Mad Team.
Sure.
Is that day one performance, Top Esports goes up against EVOS. And they ended a 25-minute game. When they get a lead, they continue to push the pressure and see when the enemy team starts to fight back.
And let's set our expectations early. This TOP is best when they play win lane, win game, and blast people. So this is one where specifically Mad Team need to be so careful about their lane matchups. And there's actually a bit of a spoiler to that. Mad Team had side selection in game number 2. They chose red side against the 9-12, 9-13 norm of choosing blue. Now, just as a quirk of how snake drafts work, on the red side you get more counter picks. They need to find lane comfort because I come in very worried that TOP will just heavily outskill them. Damwon Gaming, they could hold up. They've got Noguri and Showmaker. Mad Team, the lane power, especially with Rock substituting in as their new AD carry in place of Breeze. He's normally a top laner, so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to try to read into this pick ban. I hope you guys can kind of lead us through this one and try to unpack this and see where all the different picks are going to go with Rock down here on the bottom side.
Yeah, we're not alone on this one. Top Esports saying, well, if he's playing an AD carry, let's take the safest one off the board in the Ezreal. Force him to play something that he has to trade with.
Now, maybe he's just a Sona player in his spare time, and Tahm Kench Sona, for example, is available. Well, I don't know about you. I'm looking at you, Raz. You're not one of those, are you?
Not at all.
Come on, no.
I can't do it.
No, exactly. Thank you. You play honest champions like Timo.
But I play way too. Oh, what? My favorite thing about this event, by the way, is the dead Timo. What we've been seeing being passed around
you
as one of our merchandise.
You have to explain that to the fans right now.
Okay, there is a merchandise out there that is literally just a dead Timo. X for eyes, obviously just gone and passed away.
It's probably going to be a big seller. So we'll talk about what is selling in terms of the draft here. The Tahm Kench actually ended up being banned by Mad Team, and there's a lot open, right? There was the Yuumi open. What are they actually looking? We have so little info on what Mad Team are trying to find, especially bot lane-wise. They do find the strongest laning support, though, in the Yuumi.
And perhaps the biggest surprise would just be if we have a standard Yuumi lane, and Rock actually is just straight up AD carry in his spare time. We were making Sona jokes, but who knows with this Yuumi down here on the bottom side.
You know, coming in from China, one thing I saw, you know, Suning as a team going up against Invictus Gaming, the way they were able to take a game was Pyke and Yuumi. I know that Pyke got a considerable nerf, mostly in its solo lane potential, no wave clear that he's able to provide for himself, but Yuumi really allows like a Jace or something else, a non-AD carry to perform in the bot side.
And recently we were talking about how the Zoe pick allows your Gao to really go back to comfort. I want to also mention that Uniboy, in his best performance, I think to Worlds last year where Mad Team were representing the LMS, he is another really strong Zoe player. So I like the fact that they get Ultra Comfort somewhere, given that the roster is a little bit all over the place on the side of Mad Team. Power picks here when you see the Yuumi going something like Sivir Lux. Sivir Lux, when we see it in Korea, as you well know, Valdez, we call it the 2-turret plate lane. The Lux support just alone is that laning support.
There it is.
There's the Pyke, and it's just straight locked.
I mean, when we saw it last time, it's just consistent skirmishes and fight. That's what Kongyue was talking about and what I saw in the LPL. So hard focus on Kongyue, going towards Rock and K in the bottom lane, because that's how they're going to be trying to at least mess up the tempo the top esports are going for.
And who's the better Yuumi and who's the better Pyke when we saw this over on... Exactly, you can see different teams. We saw this in the LEC as well coming through in other cases as well. We saw in the LCK with Prey playing in this lane as well. So Yuumi and Pyke can be oh so annoying to deal with, and suddenly we get the payoff to the SOT about more aggression being played today.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how that does work out. We have to mention the hover by Knight on the LeBlanc there for just a moment in that mid lane. Immediately gets banned out, and the Poppy you were mentioning for the Kongyue jungle is going to be taken off the board right away.
Well, I'm sad about that one. Big fan of the pick, and so strong against Irelia in general, right? It's been a lane pick for a long time, but the jungle could have been pulled out here. We've seen the start of something spicy from Mad Team. When we saw Kingzone go for one of these Pyke comps, we had a lot of AoE thrown in there now. The Zoe is a different type of mage. What are we getting around the pandemonium of bot lane?
I love, and I'm just going to be talking about the last pick that we haven't even seen here in the draft, is the Sylas. Sylas jungle has been really the pick of the tournament so far, and so far it's kind of been let go with so many jungle bans already. I expect it to be picked up now, at least by top esports.
And now we see Aatrox, and if you remember, it was Aatrox, the Morgana carry, and the Karthus jungle, no jungle, taken yet from Kongyue. The thing you can go with these Pyke comps is a lot of AoE damage and then reset city for the Aatrox, reset city for the Pyke. That does seem to be what they're suggesting. They are holding Kongyue, their strongest player's jungle pick, to last pick on red side.
It also just allows you to get this massive AP presence on your team. You already have the Zoe, but just to add to that kind of mix-up where you have the AD with the Pyke and the Aatrox, but then Zoe and Karthus can just nuke you down on the other side.
There we go, Sylas hover. But you know how you're talking about the Sivir and Lux being, you know, turret plating, being able to take that in the bot side of the map? Well, the Nico is allowing it, throw it into the mid lane. Just such early pressure. Mad Team is not going to have many windows here to be able to create the plays that they're looking for, just because top esports will be able to get the shove in the mid and bot lane and will be able to rotate to stop the plays.
Well, in the 2v2, I think that is already guaranteed, but this last pick here would definitely play with expectations. They would have two jungle choices here between the Aatrox and whether it was a Renekton or the Jace. There has been a jungle Renekton game. People have been playing around with it. Heavily expected to be Aatrox jungle, though, on the side of Mad Team.
Take a look at the summoners there on Rock. He's going to be hopping onto the Yuumi, it seems, here down
We know
the
his
bottom
off-roll
lane.
champion now.
There you go.
He's just trying to get up there in the challenger rankings. It seems like playing the Yuumi. Looks like Aatrox jungle will be the selection, although we have till 20 seconds to render the final verdict.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that that will be heading in there. Don't think we'll see any mixes up on that side for now.
We're about 3 seconds to go. Moyu now locking in the Nico in the top lane. It's one of the questions. We just saw the Shy pick up the press the attack Nico. If there's anybody in the LPL or in this tournament to be able to pick up the press the attack alongside him, it's going to be Moyu, the Jax player.
And I think this is definitely a matchup where you'd want to go it, right? Try to find lane bully status against the epitome of lane bullies in Renekton, who has been drawing ban after ban early in this tournament. So we'll wait and see if that's the decision. Reinforce team fighting or reinforce the lane. Those are the options that Moyu has.
You take one last look, and you can blink once or twice, but yes, that is Rock down on the bottom side. And yes, 369 not going to be playing here tonight. Moyu joining us up there in the top lane, so should be a fun start here for game number 2.
It'll be good. I mean, the game can turn on a dime just based off the pick potential that the Pyke has. Sleepy Trouble based off of Zoe as well. Vision is going to be crucial here.
So here we go, guys. You can see the game has started up. Let us jump into game number 2, Top Esports up against Matt. We always give a chance for a response chant on the other side. Thank you, Observer, for swapping the bottom side, as Rock will be our support player for this game.
Thankfully, our LCK Observers are pretty active with clicking, so the PTSD does go very early. They are also noted on Reddit a court looking at turret HP in the Mad Team game yesterday. It's Mad Team. I had to mention it. So they're definitely on the ball and sometimes a little bit savage in their observing. Shout out to Jonah Strong, our lead observer. Mad Team have messed with their strategy a lot. Yeah, I'm going to be ace checked by Moyu here, and the ward goes down, trying to get some advanced vision. But all you need to know, guys, is that usually Rock is their substitute top laner. He was subbed in, named as AD carry. Now we can see pretty clearly is the better Yuumi player of the duo. Mad Team trying something crazy, and you do wonder if this finds even early game success, would it be something they're willing to try again when they return to the LMS stage?
And when I last saw this duo, remember that was in 9.11 when Pyke didn't receive his early wave clear nerfs, where, you know, now he really relies on getting the Tiamat to be able to get to this point. He's going to be dominated early on by Loken and Ben, so that's my concern. This one's going to be prolonged a little bit more now. Ben taking a good position in the lane.
And we should talk about what that means, because yes, he has a support next to him. Maybe he can last hit like a Tahm Kench does in one of the Frostmancy lanes, Sona Tahm Kench early, for example. But, you know, he goes Doran's. He doesn't go Relic Shield because the Yuumi is going to be, speaking of the Yuumi, not going to be providing too much in this area. Should be worth mentioning that before, when you had damage on your E against minions and monsters, which was removed on this patch, and Tiamat, you could hold waves, you could clear them. That's all gone now, so you could get just more CS because you had more CSing options. Now, theoretically, you see that nerf and you say, all right, you're going to be down some amount of creeps, right? Hard to say, it depends on how much pressure there is. There's a lot from Lux and Sivir. Then you really do have to get those kills thick and fast. Otherwise, you just don't have the gold to make Pyke work.
Something to make note of is the sustain that both Rock and K do still have here. The reason why, Pyke was a great solo laner, a good point of it, we saw it going up against Jace. A lot of range matchup is that it can sustain a lot of damage. Get into Fog of War, you really retain a lot of that. And then, of course, Aftershock being picked up by K here. So being poked out by Loken and Ben shouldn't be too much of a worry. They still need an answer because they're going to be in a pretty significant CS deficit.
It's just the natural laning phase isn't why you picked it, and it's worse. So it's something we have to track our eyes with. Speaking of tracking our eyes, XX
oh, no.
coming in.
Okay, the smite, though, is going to go the direction of Kongye here. Trying to go for the fight, but Ben is going to be the first support that does join up. The rest of the bottom lane, though, trying to join in here. Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Onto Ben, has to flash away. Now XX in a terrible position, going way too deep. Trying to trade it back, though. Kongye is going to be able to get out of here unscathed.
But a great response by Uniboy. Maybe they're thinking they can get a little bit more.
All right, if they hit the hook, but no, as not even a flashes will be burned on Loken.
Rotates early, well done from Uniboy, even gets the Sleepy Trouble Bubble and allows Mad Team to chase them down. It looked great from XX, but now he's down in experience, not being able to pick up the smite on the blue buff, and then I'll have to lose his life on that.
Moyo in the top side, gonna get a pretty good trade out there. Bold to take an early invade without smite to try to steal away a buff against a Pyke comp that doesn't really want to lane anyway. They want to be in the war zone and starting the skirmishing really early. So just taking that was pretty quintessential LPL. We're going to watch the replay. Remember, XX doesn't have smite when he comes in for this contest. They're trying to play around lane pressure with Ben. And if this is a normal duo lane that has to stay in lane, things like Tristana, Alistar, yes, you can't rotate. You need to get that CS. But they're already going Pyke after the hard nerf. They're not thinking about farming creeps. They're looking for any champions they can get the kills on.
That's one of the risks. I mean, if you end up forcing these fights, and live too.
Oh boy, Knight getting incredibly low. Uniboy just going to be able to show up. Looks like he had the help of Kongye there in the mid lane. The 2-on-1 is real, and now the 2-0 for Uniboy.
You said it best coming into the game, Valdez. I mean, really, this is a game where if you blink, you go into a replay, you will miss a part of the action.
Even in analytical points could be too long, as we see almost there. Another chunk go down. Remember that TOP were looking like they wanted to approach this series, win lane, win game. We're going to look at how this is. So Knight has the push. He wants to get the full reset. It's always that pesky spot where the lane can be frozen. And the moment they threaded that trouble bubble, the inroads were massive. Knight thinks the flash is going to be enough because, remember, Uniboy had flashed already. But guess what? He gets to pilfer the flash, and the pilfered flash picked up off the floor, enough to pick up the kill. 2
early fights and already can go with Lost Chapter, 2 early kills on Uniboy. So having a great game just based off the first 5 minutes.
And it's not in a vacuum either. If we think back to Irelia versus Zoe when this was a common matchup last year, Ignite Irelia would solo kill Zoe. It felt like half the time at level 6. You just run in there with Sheen and just blow him up. That's still possible, but now Irelia can't W away magic damage, so she takes damage back. Any extra base stats or items to the side of the Zoe might actually avert the usual spot where Irelia has fertile ground to just smash the Zoe into the ethers.
And it's kind of that uncommon mistake you'll see in the mid lane there from Knight. It is a very good read, though, from Uniboy, and also had his sights set on landing that trouble bubble, so props to him as well to pick up that kill.
You take a look at the right side of mid lane. Control wards are heavily in favor of Mad Team, already working towards a roam here by Kongye.
He wants to spot. Oh, it's actually important that he spots here.
All right, now can they turn? The Pyke is going to land that stun, though. They're looking for this, but no level 6 on the Pyke. He's actually level 4. So lands that stun with the flash, and how about some more fighting up in the top lane as the Pop Blossom there is going to just put him back.
We didn't mention this, but it is Glacial Augment from Moyo. He has not gone press the attack, so with press the attack, maybe there's chase potential down a long lane. Not going to see in this case. It is, of course, the Q max if you go in the Glacial Augment.
You made a mention of it, of course, with Kongye coming into the lane, but he wants this fight. Young, please.
Give him a chance to speak.
Smack him. Okay, all right, we're fine.
He doesn't like Raz's analysis. What can we say? Come on, mate.
I'm just saying, Kongye tried for a play towards the bot side of the map, and the fact that it was cut up by XX just having vision of him really saved Loken and Ben in the bot side, so great call there.
Vision on the bot side is a really good thing to give lip service to. 3 control wards in this area means every trouble bubble is unscouted from the side of top esports. Now, we always talk about this, but one of the advantages of specifically Lux as an enchanter range supporter, she's a range support, so turret plates, win lane, etc. But from behind, she has 2 abilities to check brush, her E and her R, so she can contest vision a lot safer than a lot of these mages in the bot.
Almost got the perfect CS there. I think he might have missed that last one. So props to Loken. You don't always get the camera shot of that one, but we'll continue with a very nice lead in the CS. Down on the bottom side already, over 20 CS there.
The gold lead that Kongyue has should be far larger at this point. He should get, Red and Krugs up top side, then he can go right back to the bottom side play. The control wars that they already have towards the river should just remain. And even if he doesn't get that play bot again, I mean, Dragon is still up. Good setup for it. So that's something that Mad could be confident about and being able to make that play.
And if TOP can find a way to get back map vision here and stop Mad from roaming and getting picks, stop the Pyke from post level 6, getting a lot of inroads, they still have very strong team fight on the side of TOP. So it's a kind of a nuanced draft. The moment you try to copy G2 and come up with this Pyke and Yuumi strat, you still need to put it to good use. G2 are the epitome of a team where you can't just copy what they do and find the advantages. You need to understand the play style behind it.
And the fact that it hasn't been ultra, successful here is actually working against them. 2 early kills, sure, but Top Esports are the one with the gold lead.
Yeah.
Not just off the turret plating, but CS margins are huge here, both in the bot and mid lane. So across all lanes, Top Esports are finding advantages that now Mad Team needs to cut up.
Really weird to see the late Relic straight Targon's pickup here from the Pyke. You were seeing the moments where no gold sharing was happening. If you are in this phase, you do not pick up gold. Speaking of this phase, warning signs were there for TOP. They back away, and it seems like they were just trying to buy space for Aatrox to clear out a ward.
And you can see XX's presence down here in the bottom side. As you mentioned, okay, this is Lux right now trying to burst down the Yuumi. But, it is the Yuumi, not quite having the firepower behind the Lux just yet.
Coming into this play, though, does mean that Rock has to back away. He has to waste his mana on self-sustain. Again, not ideal. TOP get to continue pushing up, and it seems like all Aatrox is doing is stopping an early turret from being destroyed completely by the Silver and Lux.
I don't think Mad has an opening bot side at all. One thing that XX has done consistently is, if there's side lanes are shoving out consistently, they have good communication to know that, K and Rock hasn't even been able or, have the wards to be able to ward the lane bushes. So he's been looking for counter ganks pretty successively. So good call for Kongyue just to look for a dragon and to get this game going.
You look at the map state, and if you are TOP, you should say, okay, bot lane play is a bit scary, no vision, top side basically free for the Moyu to push, and not even with the on-hit build, so with the team fighting build, and that means that Rift Herald exists as a very clean objective here. Now, the speed at which they took the Mountain Drake does mean they could try to make a play here, and with this TP, seems like we're getting a contest. The Rift Herald's still pretty healthy at 6,000.
It's exactly what they want to do. They're going to rotate on over, but we might just have a fight. The TP coming in now from the side of Top Esports. We're flashing on the Renekton, and down he will go. Flashes at the last moment as Liang a little bit too far ahead of his entire team.
Wow, that was looking like a great flank from Mad Team, but maybe they can still get Knight.
Ooh, Knight going a little bit too aggressive there onto the Pyke, but is going to be forced to flash away.
Everybody flanking each other here. Mad Team were just a little bit too slow to understand that the mid lane is going to take longer to respond than the team of TOP, and thus Renekton's whole health bar is void. Now, Renekton has TP and Dominus available, so they could try to hard force something, but now it seems like top laner is going to do it Australian style, go to the bottom lane.
Yeah, we're going down there for now, just switching things
down
up.
Under, if you will.
I wanted to strategically avoid that.
I'm Australian. I strategically go straight into it.
After you just let it up there on the platter. Had no other choice. But yeah, we're just switching sides here after that objective, and both teams just want to have more presence around that Rift Herald. We'll see if anybody can actually take that here before 14 minutes.
I think it's just tough here for Mad Team. Unless if Kongyue can get this going.
Oh boy, Knight a little bit of trouble, but he's trying to turn it around. Look at that damage! He's just able to put Zoe in the dumpster, and he's looking for more even. One more auto could do it. Doesn't quite have the Q back available, but the 1v2 is real from Night9.
Yeah, Liang doesn't have flash here, but still, great 2v1 on that one. Just had a wave to work with, so just evading Aatrox in the get-go.
And it's so important for the confidence of this mechanically skilled mid laner, famous for dominating rank 1 on the Korean server to have a big moment at this tournament. It's his international debut. A bit of a muted one so far, but moments like that, little glimmers remind you of the potential behind the name Night9.
Guy really doesn't mess around. He knew he didn't have his flash from the play earlier on around the Rift Herald when he went a little bit too deep, and he's like, well, I can't run. There's no way I'm going to be able to run. So in that moment, it actually gives you more confidence. You say, I have to fight. Let's do it.
He definitely looks for those moments later on in the game when he's able to put himself on side lane. I want to see, you know, if they get desperate, Mad Team that is, that they would have to send more units to be able to take him down, but looks like XX has a chance to be able to go on to K, just trying to clear out this tri-bush.
K is so low, and experience level 7, you know, at this point, a level behind Loken. Don't know the exact experience bars, but it's been pretty common to see him behind an experience in this laning phase in a different role as the carry of the lane, usually just the support. CS leads. When they win game, remember how we talked about that? Start putting the numbers together. It's about 100 CS lead already to TOP across the lanes.
Just nearly 40 CS difference from Knight and Uniboy alone. So the concern I had with just waves being shoved into them consistently, it's becoming a reality.
Got a fight down here in the bottom side, one-on-one. The Dominus is popped here from Liang. He's looking for the long game, but that root is going to land and save Moyu's life. Okay, nice angle there, trying to turn that one around. Double final chapter. Who reads it better? It looks like it is going to be XX, who will lock that Rift Herald down. And now Uniboy, with nowhere to hide and nowhere to run, just goes down, as well as that Rift Herald to the side of Top Esports.
Yeah, they were committing so hard to being able to get the smite that they weren't in position for a fight there. So great job to XX being able to smite it out.
A couple of skirmishes across the map, though, do go the way of Mad Team. Both picking up the way of TOP on the bot side. We did see the Nico get away. We're going to see the replay of the mid lane play here, and we talked about how this was such an Aurelia favored matchup in the past. Even with backup, Knight able to problem solve his way through, and the Ignite guaranteed it. Kongyue is only spared being a 2v1 double kill member by the fact the Q cooldown hadn't come up for Aurelia.
Was able to just do an immense amount of damage. That's 2 entire health bars by himself, just weaving in and out of the Aatrox abilities as well. I like how we got that cool Riot Korea style camera angle as
Helicopter camera.
Props to our observers once again.
And Rock has decided that he's going to be a bit more bold than our usual Yumi play. He's got a lost chapter from the support role, which already is a big surprise for Yumi. She kind of stacks all of the Forbidden Idol items in rare order. You see a lot of Magi's on this champion, the Dark Seal is already there, but usually you see something Forbidden Idol evolved from this side. So
yes.
Lost Chapter, I guess, going to be something like the GLP or Luden's, and it is a bit more carry oriented. Speaking of top lane carries, Moyu takes a lot of damage.
Liang, if he can ever get on top of him there, is going to do a good job, but that's just the side lane. We got to pay attention to the main action here in the mid lane with Shelly already going to take out that CR2, or 1 rather, and in the blink of an eye, Liang just able to flash onto him. Call him he did.
I was about to say this game seemed hopeless because being able to take mid lane turret down like this with the composition that they had, vision control is going to be so against Mad Team, but Liang coming in high, taking down Moyu, already having a great performance.
He's at least going to have a YouTube highlight for this particular game. We'll see how the entire game goes. Speaking of the entire game, though, on the other side of the map, they're finding advantages. Liang still has his teleport up, so they have to respect the 5v4 potential. Nice little moment here for Liang with his fellow top laner on the Rift as well.
Uh-oh.
And, well, we had a highlight, and now we'll have a little bit of a low light as Kongyue just going for a walk in the jungle, and Knight is going to pick up yet another kill.
Second time. I mean, XX is just in the right place at the right time constantly, hovering over Knight at that situation. It'd be fine by Kongyue, but, I mean, just got set up in that trap.
Not a lot of fine things for Mad Team. I want to draw your attention to 4 kill now, Aurelia, with a 40 CS advantage, a Trinity Force, and more in the mid lane. That sounds like a side lane you don't want to go near. Moyu didn't go press the attack, so he's trying to play respectful and just put out the Blooming Burst, but Liang goes for the 1 combo even without his first item complete and overkills the Nico and then some.
And over here this time, just, you know, takes the blasting plant. Suppose he didn't expect the Aurelia to be there and just gets shut down 2v1.
So now what I need to see, there's still one control ward, there was 2 control wards in the southern quadrant of the jungle by Mad Team. That all needs to be replaced. They have no business having vision in that area. They need to be able to have strong defensive vision, specifically on the top side of the map. I know that Mountain Dragon's going to be coming up soon, but at this state, they need to be able to have secure point on the red buff and when Baron comes up in 2 minutes.
Strange thing is, though, Raz, you know, I want to agree with you, because that is absolutely how every team in this scenario should play, irrespective of champions, and yet, I don't know if safe vision works if you have no AD carry, if you have really no wave clear short of melee range wave clear on a Renekton and a Zoe. I actually think that you just lose the game if you do that. I want to see Mad Team take over a quadrant that TOP have to come towards, say Baron after 20 minutes, and you gotta use your comp for what it's made for. They're losing every lane by a lot of CS. They picked a comp to skirmish and get Pyke resets on. If they just pick up defensive vision, what are you defending when in terms of lane matchups, they're losing matchups innately?
Well, somehow, on that line of thinking, they're going to have to get one of these skirmishes done fast. They don't want to give too much of a gold lead over to the side of Top Esports, who are just trying to take down objectives and widen that gap here, as now it is about 5,000.
You got something.
XX, okay, he's going to be all alone. TP is coming in, but he's not going to be able to do much by himself. Boyu here has to flash away immediately, but nowhere for him to run. Has his team behind him, but that's already 2 kills to Mad Team. Even Loken gets trapped up in all this business. He has to flash away as well.
That was really disrespectful from XX to begin with. Sure, he was flanked out by multiple members, but thought he could buy for enough time. Had no business even looking for that fight.
It's like they caught a can of fizzy drink, TOP, with all their winning lanes, but they just let it shake and they open it up and they're surprised it burst in their faces. 2 kills because they were just in range. And as you say, being a little bit too bold. And now all the map control resets. And is it going to change the game? Maybe no. But it's so unforced on the side of TOP because, yes, you only get the vision a little bit later, but he goes straight in with only a TP and a slowly walking Sivir to back him up.
Honestly, Kongyu was probably playing around Fog, so he thought it was just going to be that one member that he could look to force a fight on. So the moment Aatrox came in, it was already too late. So again, at least there's that one glimpse that you can look for if Top Esports go and make another mistake. Baron is enabled. It's tough. I mean, even with that, Matt doesn't really have a good Baron team at all.
Oh, no, not even a little
laughable.
bit. They can tank it a bit. They can turn off it real good. Damaging it, though, oh boy. Quite important to pick it up, but they can't do that. So the reason why it feels like TOP, like if you pause it and say, Papa Smithy, what's the percentage chance they win? I'm like 99.9%, which sounds really high, right? The reason why I say that is the only way that you can actually win this game is, Matt, is you put all the control wards on the Baron and TOP run straight at it the moment the vision goes down. Because usually you're like, wait, how long do we have to contest the vision? Turns out you have a really long time because Mad Team don't even want to start tanking the Baron. They can't kill it. It takes too damn long, even with a Mountain Drake. So actually getting TOP to choose the wrong fight needs to be error after error after error. We saw 1. There needs to be 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to give TOP the benefit of the doubt that if they stay as a 5 and roam as their own death squad with a gold lead already, they shouldn't fall into a pit like that.
1 by 1, if you run into a team that is looking to skirmish and pick you off 1 by 1,
I guess you could lose.
You're going to have a good time as the team that has that pick. Not necessarily top, but as you mentioned, stick together as a 5, deny a second Mountain Drake and more Baron potential, have some of your own, and you're probably looking pretty good in this game.
Look what Loken is doing here. I mean, they recognize how long it took for Uniboy to have a mid lane wave cleared, so it's like, all right, let's keep doing this. Should be an easy dragon for us if we continue to play this one out. They don't have any clear whatsoever, so they may be looking for a play here.
Seems like they had a good idea that Kongyo is going to stay in that brush. They get him to dash over the wall. That means that a lot of power for engaging on this one is going to go away, but let's see if they still commit to it here. Mountain Drake goes down, looking for the potential pick, but everything's going back on onto the Zoe as Uniboy has to flash away, but now XX goes in by himself. Here comes Leon, the Dominus into the backline, trying to do that AoE, but here's Knight into his own backline, has to, and is gonna have the 3 with the help of XX. Might just be able to sweep this entire team as now Uniboy's gonna go down, and it's all up to K. Maybe he can get one, but that is not gonna look good for him as he will go down as the final member of Mad Team.
And they just flex on Mad Team there. That's the night with the instant triple kill, working out some frustrations on how maybe the early game and earlier matches have gone for TFB. They run on the Baron, and Raz, take us through one of those night highlight plays.
I just love, just to begin this, take a look at Liang. At least there was a glimpse of hope. He thought he can get XX, good flash on that one. But you were talking about Knight, getting the first kill, moving on to the second. And at this point, he already was like, all right, Uniboy thinks he can come in here, flashes over the wall to just jump on top of his head.
And K had ult the entire time with flashing health bars, and I don't know what he was looking for his moment to enter the fight. He certainly didn't find the perfect one on the end there. The Baron easily picked up, and yep, we're at silly territory. It's 10,000 gold lead.
Love the fact that you're talking about Knight taking out his frustration in that fight. I felt Rock was hella frustrated alongside K, just because they were trying to at least get one kill with the Pike execution.
Yeah,
Couldn't even get that.
They got 700 damage between 2 people, so we'll put that in the...
the only person that has executed anyone with the Pike ultimate is XX, when he stole the kill away from Knight 9 in that last fight.
I thought you were going somewhere else that was a bit darker with that one, but I appreciate... The one in my head was...
PG-13.
I like it. I like the PG-13 side. 005 Secret Agent Loken here. I wonder if his brother's in the audience. LCK fans might know that Tana, the Jinner sub-top laner, is in fact Loken's brother, so I'm sure he does have the family connection going on here. It's the Korean players from the LPL squad. We'll be visiting family, I'm sure, this week. Seems like TOP are going to be visiting a winner's interview as they're now hugely ahead in Look at Knight's items.
Wow.
My goodness gracious.
Boy, help.
I didn't swear at that one either. I'm being a good boy today, no French.
Only English on this broadcast for now, but yeah, I mean, it is pretty incredible. We talked about picks and we talked about potential from this side, but well, Brock was brought in to play the Yuumi, but I feel like the brain's a little bit all jumbled up now.
They're trying to find that one pick on a Glacial Augment user, couldn't even get that.
And now they're finding picks, and it's like, well, we can't do anything after that, you know.
You know what they really can't do? They can't wave clear against this Baron even a little bit. They have to full engage, or they just have to leave the inhibitor. No point posturing near it, Mad Team. Got to make a decision.
Well, Liang hesitating, looking for his entrance, but just deciding in the end that we cannot fight right now. But not sure if they will have an opportunity to fight in the rest of this game. Maybe it was that one moment or not at all.
And this is a good, take note for all teams out there. The triple control wards in the red side jungle, all really just to catch out Liang. Even with the small quadrant he was walking through, there was a nice trinket there as well, so there was no opportunity for him to come through on a flank and not be seen. But speaking about flanks...
Okay.
That's good.
Trouble bubble is good. Might just save them. Get the zoomies here on Liang, but oh boy.
Oh no.
Glacial Augment, that is a rune, and he's going to be dead. And here comes Knight, looking for him, but the flash away from K will be good. Nice knock-up as well from Konga. He's taking the turret the entire time. They just don't care. They're going to pick up another second kill here. Will top esports, as well as this game eventually.
Yeah, they got a top lane wave. It seems like this is going to be it for Mad Team.
I can't disagree with you. They're trying to flex on them here.
Yeah, nice little read there by XX. One and a second one, but here comes that Pop Blossom. They're going to kill the Yuumi, who is caught in transition. And Mad Team, they can't even get one last kill on the backside. Poor guys. They're just all going to go down here. Uniboy, the only one left standing, but Top Esports will be left standing for the win as the Nexus goes down. GG for game number 2.
And an important note here. Yes, we know that for today's best of 5, the LPL is 2-0 up with 3 match points, but I want to also mention that the only 2 LMS teams of the 4 alongside VCS have already played and already lost. So after only being gunned down 3-2 in the semifinals in the last LPL versus LMS best of 5 2 years ago, the LMS goes the entire Rift Rivals tournament with no victory.
I mean, coming into this one, we've had discussions where we're just trying to say, don't go 0-11. Out of everything, please pick up a win. And for me, their best chance is Flash Rolls and Dashing Buffaloes. The strategy that they had coming into this one was respectable. You know, try and throw the kitchen sink in game 2. Mad Team had a mad chemist really mentality of throwing in the Pike Yumi, fun. But now you're having your best team, Dashing Buffaloes, coming into this one 0-2.
And the weird thing is, of the 4 teams, you would probably rank EVOS the lowest of all 4, and yet either they're playing in the knockout match or they're playing in the next knockout match, right? They're playing very late in the piece. Usually if you're going to burn a team, you want it kind of second, right? Or first, but they have decided to leave them in a guaranteed knockout position, even if they get to play. Wait and see what the decision is there as we watch the replay. The fact that Knight was scouted was the only reason this didn't get hot even earlier than it proved to be.
Oh my God. I mean, Knight had a great one. The fact that they took out Liang right from the get-go. Liang had a great performance today, was able to match up well versus Moyu on that one. Solo kill as well. But to be put in that position, still being able to get solo kills, having a great team fight towards Dragon, but then, of course, Top Esports recognized the situation, wave clear galore, being able to take these fights. Of course, what you see in front of you is just the game-ending fight on that one. Just hope being taken away from Mad Esports.
And look, TOP can only beat the team that were put in front of them, and it was a role swap. There was a lot going on the side of Mad Team. We have no insight as to what heralded that, but they did not look comfortable in a draft. We've seen work on the domestic stage before and the international stage, so things to work on for Mad for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we expected, unfortunately, right? We were coming into this one, LPL, the big favorites, as well as just waiting for the LMS and VCS regions to potentially pick up a win. Now they've really only got one last chance to stay alive in this one. Very curious. I suppose it will have to be Dashing Buffalo. As you mentioned, EVO's probably not the team to come in here for the knockout round.
Let's assume Dashing Buffalo for competition reasons. Which LPL team comes out if you know Dashing Buffalo's playing?
IG.
Just throw them out there and give them a real kind of regional beef game?
At this point, because you want to keep it short, you don't want to go longer than it should, I think IG still at least needs some bit of warm-up. They seem to be the strongest. No, they are just the strongest LPL performing team right now. And so going into tomorrow, that's what you want to see.
Absolutely. So we'll see if they do come out here. I'd like to see them play one more time before they do get into tomorrow, which is what we're kind of assuming at this point. 2 quick games already going to the side of LPL. Taking a look at some stats here.
One thing that we just, we don't get to talk about here, but in the relay, you really need that momentum. And for me, I don't expect to be seeing EVOS at all in this best of 5 because, throw out your best quickly. As soon as possible, get some momentum going. So when you go into the backstage, there's that good belief, but of course we're going to be throwing onto the stage. It's going to be Knight being interviewed by Ji-sun.
1승을 추가한 탑 e스포츠의 나이트 선수 모셨습니다. 우선 1승을 추가하면서 결승까지 단 1승이 남았는데 소감 여쭤볼게요. Congratulations on the win. So you guys are now 1 game away from reaching to the finals. How do you feel right now?
首先恭喜你们取得胜利。那么现在你们离晋级决赛只差1盘了，你现在有什么感受？
觉得是蛮开心的吧，希望顺利进决赛。
Well, he's really happy right now, and they will try their best to make to the final.
네, 정말 기쁘고 또 이제 결승 진출을 위해서 최선을 다하겠다고 하네요. 그럼 두 번째 질문은요. 레드 팀이 사실 레드 진영을 픽하고 파이크 유미라는 조금 파격적인 조합을 가져왔는데 뱀픽이 끝나고 놀라진 않았는지 한번 여쭤볼게요. So Mad Team actually selected red side and they locked in Pike Yumi for bot lane. So weren't you a little bit surprised seeing the draft?
那么刚刚那盘比赛 ，Mad Team 呢，他们选择了红色方选人，然后他们在下路选择了派克和猫猫的这个组合。你对他们选这个角色有吃惊吗？
就还是有点吃惊的，因为9.13派克被改过了，就感觉不是一个好的选择。
Yeah, he is pretty surprised because after the patch 9.13, he thinks that Pike has been changed a little bit, and Pike isn't that good of an option right now.
사실 실제로도 조합을 보고 놀랐다고 하는데요. 9.13 패치에서 파이크 힘이 많이 빠졌기 때문에 유효하지 않을 거라고 생각했는데 파이크가 등장해서 조금 놀랐다고 하네요. 또 오늘 탑 e스포츠가 탑에서 모유 선수가 369 선수 대신 등장했는데 어떤 팀적 전략이었는지 여쭤보겠습니다. So we were able to see Moyu in top lane instead of 369. So what kind of strategy was that?
那这场比赛我们可以看到墨鱼代替了369打了首发，想问一下为什么会有这么样一个决策？
可能是尝试一下另一种风格吧。就我们队伍还是有2种风格的。
Yeah, so the team just want to try a different play style. With 모유, they were able to pull up a second play style.
네, 이제 팀에서 좀 다양한 조합, 다양한 플레이 스타일을 보여주고 싶어갖고 오늘은 모유 선수를 통해서 또 다른 플레이 스타일을 시도했다고 합니다. 그럼 이제 한국 팬분들께서는 언제나 한국 솔로 큐 상위 랭크의 유저인 띵구로도 유명하신데 어떻게 그렇게 항상 상위권을 유지하시는지도 여쭤볼게요. So actually you are really famous to the Korean fans because he's always in top ladder of Korean solo queues. So any tips for playing solo queues?
那么其实你在韩国的这个单排特别的有名，因为你的段位一直都非常的高，所以说有什么好的建议给这个单排玩家吗？
单排就操作就行了，就要一个好打好几个。
Right, you just have to polish your mechanics. If you're good enough, you can play against multiple players.
네, 그냥 피지컬이 좋아야 한다고 잘 실력이 좋으면 정말 좋은 결과가 있을 수 있다고 하네요. 그럼 마지막으로 한국에서 열리는 리프트 라이벌즈임에도 불구하고 많은 LPL 팬분들이 항상 경기장에서 응원을 보내주고 계신데 팬분들께도 한마디 부탁드리겠습니다. So there are a lot of LPL fans in the arena always supporting you guys even though it's in Korea. So any message for them?
那么尽管我们现在在韩国比赛，但是还有特别多的粉丝来自 LPL 来给你们加油，有什么想对他们说的吗？
就谢谢粉丝这么远来给我们加油吧。 就也挺辛苦的。
Or thanks to all the fans who come such a far way to Korea and support us. Thank them all.
한국까지 와서 먼 길을 오셔서 응원해주시는 모든 팬분들께 감사드린다고 합니다. 여기까지가 탑 e스포츠의 나이트 선수였습니다. 谢谢.
Well, thank you very much, Jisun, as always, for the translation and the interview this time. We're going to come back, guys, after a break for game number 3. Don't go anywhere.
Q， 没追到，我 W 了，别打，这波，兄弟自骂我的，你是吧？哎，我前面打有点紧张了，不然斗鱼直接被我压烂了。我也有点。不是你们老是说派克必死的时候那一波，但是他不打。
After you, could there be any
Rush in, drop back, 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 back.
When I'm on the rhythm, you know we don't stop. Yo, hit with the high and the low, 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 low. Now back way, are you ready for the bass? My DJ, yo, get on the case. Hyper with the lights on, no false, no fighter. Get hyper. When I'm on the rhythm with the lyrical flow. When I'm on the rhythm, you know we don't stop.
Say nothing. Better not say nothing.
When I'm on the rhythm, you know we don't stop. Yo, hit it with the high and the low, 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 low. Now back way, are you ready for the bass? My DJ, yo, get on the case. Hyper with the lights on, no false, no fighter. Get hyper. When I'm on the rhythm with the lyrical flow. When I'm on the rhythm, you know we don't stop. Now bad boy, are you ready for the bass? My DJ, yo, get on the case. Hyper with the lights on, no false, no fighter. Get hyper. Back when I'm on the rhythm with the lyrical flow. When I'm on the rhythm, you know we don't stop, 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 stop. Yo, hit it with the high and the low, 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 low. Now bad boy, are you ready for the bass? My DJ, yo, get on the case. Hyper with the lights on, no false, no fighter. Get hyper. Back when I'm on the rhythm with the lyrical flow. When I'm on the rhythm, you know we don't stop.
For the love. When they say my name, got the fans going up. Bringing major pain, make it hard for you to stand up. They call me the people champ, you should join the fan club. All I do is work 24, no letting up. Show up in the clutch, you know I had to man up. I made them take a seat because they couldn't stand us. I do it for the love, okay, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it, I do it. I do it for the love of the game. I do it for the love of the game. I do it for the love of the game. I do it for the love of the game. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it for the love of the game. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it for the love of the game.
For the love of the game, do whatever it takes. She ain't with me, then you're just in the way. Going hard in the paint, it ain't nothing to me. If I'm in the game, then it ain't safe. No slacking, I'm forever grinding. I don't put that work in, I don't put that time in. They can't see me, yeah, I be shining. MVP me, I gotta remind them.
I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it, I do it. I do it for the love of the game. I do it for the love of the game. I do it for the love of the game. I do it for the love of the game. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it, I do it for the love of the game. I do it, I do it, I do it for the love. I do it for the love of the game. Yeah. 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 Hall of Famer, how did you not know? Championship, about to win a Super Bowl. Fans in the stand, love it when I'm in the dome. Touchdown dance, celebrating cause I'm home. Fleeks on my feet, running routes all day. Shotgun, wildcat, I know all the plays. Could've been a quarterback, just put me in the game. I was born a champion, and I just want the ring. MVP, I'm the best on the list. You can join the team cause we headed to the ship. Hey, you looking at a champ. Hey, you looking at a champ. You looking at a champ. You looking at a champ. Hey, all I do is win. All I do is win. You looking at a champ, and we going to the ship. We going to the ship. We going to the ship. Hey, all we do is win. You looking at a champ. You looking at a champ. Hey, all I do is
You're
win.
looking at a C-H-A-M-P. Every time I do it, make it look easy. Better be prepared when you come for me. Don't talk me to death, you know that stuff cheap. I go hard on the west, I go hard on the east. It don't really matter either way, I'ma eat. You know I do numbers, 1, 2, 3, count on me like work easy. I can do it in my sleep. I do not know defeat. Championship rings on my hand, go bling in games when I please. Good night, RIP. Ain't no OT. You are not a champ, boy. You don't wanna
You
be.
looking at a champ. You looking at a champ. You looking at a champ. Hey, all I do is win. All I do is win. You looking at a champ, and we going to the ship. We going to the ship. We going to the ship. Hey, all we do is win. You looking at a champ. You looking at a champ. Hey, all I do is win.
두 번 연속 어떻게 보면 LPL 대표 참여하게 됐는데 가슴이 뛰는 일이고 그리고 이번 연도에도 우승해서 돌아갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Well, here we go, guys. We are back after that last break, and hearing a little bit from Doinby, and it looks like we will be seeing FPX on the stage joining us for game number 3. You can see them there on the left side. We'll be going up against Dashing Buffalo for our third match and potentially final one here in this semifinals.
Throwing the gauntlet seems like putting in FPX at this point, and this is what I was worried about. You're putting in Dashing Buffalo as your best team. Immediately, LPL is going to be throwing down what would be, of course, IG and FPX, the strongest teams from the LPL. It's going to be a tough one for Dashing Buffalo to come in with.
It is definitely an interesting decision not to run IG, right? Maybe FPX just have business to prove when it comes to the stage here at Rift Rivals. Speaking of business to prove, there is a sub, and interestingly, for the first time since MSI, Shuhao is back. Did not play in the domestic scene so far in summer, but Raizo, Shuhao, Noel, Big Coral, and Pallet. Must admit, though, it does feel a bit more like giving experience on a stage like this to Shuhao rather than necessarily running the strongest possible 5 for a victory.
Meliodas is their best player, flatly put. Doesn't make sense if you're trying to give some hope to, LMS and VCS to at least take a game in this best of 5. To be throwing in Shuhao right now.
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate to look at, kind of just feel like they're charging forward like a Buffalo towards that 0 and 11. We'll hope that that doesn't happen, but unfortunately, that's kind of the way it looks when they are going up against this lineup from FPX.
Of course, no changes to be made here. Gimgoon, Tien, Doinby, LWX, and Crisp. Our focus is on Doinby. We saw multiple interviews coming out in the previous days. Rounding out, he feels like, he has a lot to prove. Much to be expected. Undefeated in the LPL coming into this point and immediately taking that first loss to Kingzone in a decisive fashion. So feels like they do have a chip on the shoulder. To your point, feels like coming out here is a point of pride for FPX, wanting to come out against Dashing Buffalo.
I mean, my personal hope is that Doinby has a new pick to show us, because he was pretty vocal in interviews after day number 1 saying, all right, the move from 9-11 to 9-13 has really hurt the LPL. Some of our old picks that we leaned on are now a little bit more towards the side. He brought out an old pick, right? The Orianna was his pick yesterday. They found a victory with that. Today, I want to see some more quintessential Doinby.
Yeah.
I look at this guy as someone who looks at everyone's base kit. If he sees the CC, he likes it, and any tank can go in the mid lane if it's Doinby.
I mean, I think that's what we're all hoping for at this moment in time. In the beginning of this day, we were saying, hey, maybe the LMS VCS region can come back and get at least one win. That was the hope, but now it's kind of hoping, what kind of fun picks are we going to see? That's what this has come to.
At the end of the day, you charging forward, you still have Pallet, Big Koro in the bot side of the map. Dashing Buffalo still have a very strong dual lane that they can back up.
And honestly, we have seen the two LMS teams. They did not necessarily represent their regions with pride in the first two games in terms of competitive series. Now it's on to the VCS, right? And this is a fusion combo squad. So there's a real chance the VCS can walk away with their head held higher than their regional buddies.
I mean, that is the hope here. They did come over to the blue side. I believe that's to the choice of FPX, actually, because it is the third game, and the team that had the higher seed did get to choose for 1, 3, and 5. So yet another team coming in here and choosing the red side.
There's a jungle focus coming in from Dashing Buffaloes. It's going to be interesting. I know Tian, one of our best performing junglers in the spring split, was third place in MVP votes. Now, a lot of people initially thought that him and Doumbé, that synergy was mostly dominated by Doumbé. One of the best teams in the LPL challenged Doumbé, put him underneath tower, and forced Tian to go on his own and create his own advantages. He did just that. So one of our rising stars in jungle talent. It's going to be interesting to see what we can see from Suhao.
And I thought it's when Suhao went out and Meliodas came back in that kind of the Fengfu Buffalo at MSI really started to hit back into the sort of gear we kind of gave this region respect for. I thought Suhao looked a little bit lost in some of his early games, and he hasn't had stage games to build up a lot of synergy with Noah. I'm sure the scrims have been plentiful. Zooming in on this particular draft, you'll notice that Yuumi once again goes unbanned. Sejuani blue side man, Karma blue side man. The Lux is there as a response, but for the Dashing Buffalo, Pallet's jumping on the cute cat.
And FPX have at least had some great adaptations since their first loss to Kingzone when, we saw Tushin's Yuumi essentially run rampant with depth. Now it's been, for FPX at least, early prioritize your support pick so you don't have to go into an Alistar pickup. So at least Nautilus is up and available. Lux is the primary one that Crisp is going to be picking up.
And they've had their experience against the Lucian recently. Deft's Lucian was on point on day number 1 of this tournament. The biggest upset, I would say, of the best of 1 stage, the only real true upset was out of form Kingzone, upsetting previously undefeated in match score FPX. And they're stealing away some early priority. This seems like a let's go home early duo of picks.
Gotta like it. We'll see if they do lock it in, but it just screams confidence, and it shows that they're coming in here and they're not really messing around. They want to bring it to them straight away in the lane.
And I want to see this Chinese aggression. It's been an open meme for so long. I want the here for a good time, not a long time, 5 champions on the side of FBS. Give me all the early power spikes. Where's the Xin Zhao at? Let's go real hard at this.
I mean, coming into this event, 10 and 12 is what we're seeing here from just the win rate on red side from FPX. They prefer red side, and it's primarily being able to swap between Doumbé and Gimgoon with the multiple bruisers that they have there. Kled players and Renekton players. So Renekton on the board for FPX. Don't expect another potential top laner until we get to see him in second phase.
And with FPX's dominance, people see Doumbé play a champion and they copy it. They take that Renekton to the mid lane, and sometimes it works, sometimes Koro for a particular example that works to both regions. It doesn't. So you're right. Open flex pick there. Gimgoon was always a mad scientist of a player. He always played a lot of crazy stuff in the top lane, whether he was in Korea or over in China. No surprise to see the Lux taken against the Yuumi. Very, very standard now. But definitely seems like Dashing Buffalo are there more for the long time as they have the Vladimir locked in already.
Yeah, that's what I'm not liking here. You're seeing a combination of the Ezreal Yuumi and a Vladimir pickup by Dashing Buffalo showcases that they're going to guarantee get shoved in 2 of these lanes now. Vladimir doesn't matter if he goes mid or top lane, depending on, to be fair, what Doumbé picks up and if he's going up against the Vladimir. I just think it's much easier for FPX in draft, recognizing Lucian and the Lux will be able to have shove and trade, and the Renekton should match the Vladimir.
And Raz, you've had a lot of time, you actually spent a lot of time speaking to Doumbé. I know he's been interviewed by the China side. I know he's one of the more easy to communicate players with on the LPL side. How do you think he backs up from losing to that Kled pick, the top lane Kled that Kingzone kind of surprisingly sprung on FBX 2 days ago? Is there a chance that he just rolls it out, brings it back, goes on the mid lane Kled and says, this is one way to bring up the momentum coming into the last day?
Hell yeah. I mean, he definitely doubles down as a player. I remember that iconic interview with, Clement was taking with Doinby where he says, yeah, I mean, I hear the fans, I hear the criticisms, I don't give a damn about it. Like, he's going to still build the way he does, pick the way he does, because it's a successful strategy for him in the regular season.
If you're on the red side in FBX, you're just waiting for that flex pick, last pick solo laner to show us all information. Dashing Buffalo, it almost feels like they kind of have to go back to Kennen or something super safe here, depending on where the Vladimir is going. Can they make an identity? Wow, they're taking the Nocturne a little bit out of meta here. They're looking for a diver for a teamfight comp, but they need lane power, otherwise the Nocturne might have to be counter-ganking all over the map.
It's a good combination if they have the window that you're talking about with Yuumi and Nocturne as engaged, but that's the problem here. You're at least getting some wave clear if this Azir gets locked in, but how many losing lanes are we really talking about here from the Dashing Buffalo?
We're not sure yet. We need to see this final pick to really understand it. Early priority for Renekton in the Vlad matchup before Vlad gets all of his levels and gets into a great spot.
Lock it in. Doinby as a streamer, he goes wild when he's on Yasuo. He had that training montage on stream saying, yeah, no, give me the Yasuo pick so he can raise up the experience on it.
And you know what? Doinby brings in the Renekton, he brings in the Kled mid. He's doing it the hard way on this Yasuo. Not that much knock-up synergy on his team. No Gragas on his side. So there's not a lot going on there. It could be tricky.
The Abscond Abduct is good enough to be able to get that
all
knock
right,
up.
We're at single.
We got that
single
one.
friend.
But they're
you
a good
can't
friend.
say I have a lot of friends and point at one person. That's not how it works.
Unless if they're a really good friend. The super friend.
Well, we're working on getting there.
That's the thing. His best friend was banned, so he had to point to his one other friend, right?
Well, his
Poor
backup friend
Silas.
is no Gragas, it turns out, but the Silas is powerful. This could be really, really fun. Like you say, has played a lot of the Yasuo on his stream. A big streamer in Korea and China, of course. Interesting that we don't see IG. We may not see them until tomorrow. They're biding their time. The LMS VCS, they ain't got no time to bide, Valdez. They're already 3 match points down.
Another thing to take note of is before the changes happened to Silas, FPX were already flexing the Silas into the jungle. So Tien has already played quite a bit of Silas for himself, once in competitive, I know a whole bit in solo queue. So this is a comfortable combination coming in from FPX.
You gotta like it. It should be a lot of fun here, at least for a game that could be closing us out for the day. Game number 3, FPX, Fun Plus Phoenix, going up against Dashing Buffalo for game number 3 right now. Well, there we go. Giving all a chance to shout out their favorite team, and well, Fun Plus Phoenix coming out ahead in that one. And how can you not like this one? The Yasuo picked up here for the mid lane for Doinby.
But you start doing math, and we already got to 1 when it comes to amount of knock-up friends that Yasuo has. I can also count to 3, and it's 3 kind of losing presence lanes. I'd say level 1, level 2 is always strong, but of course, the moment you have that win wall, you can be pretty active around minion waves and get some control in the mid lane. You'd always take Lucian, Lux, and in the early game, the Renekton and the Vlad matchup, you get to take a little bit of ranged harass, but mostly you can kind of shrug it off with something like a Doran shield. So Nocturne doesn't have a lot of strong lanes to jungle around and then double down at level 6, so very interested to see what the pathing looks like here. He's actually going to get a topside leash from the Vladimir.
Yeah, I want to see what we get out of Tien as well. A lot of the times teams when they go up against FPX, they try and hard force the 2v2 mid because that's where they're strongest. Doinby and Tien, whenever they have shove, they do want to rotate consistently to be able to either get a dive on top side or bot lane, especially where the trading is going to be heavy for LWX and Chris. So that's going to be a primary focus for me. I would be surprised if Suhao is going to be able to get much of a hand on his own Raptors with how this mid lane should be going.
Isn't it fun that you can see 2 runes that really play into a champion's playstyle? The Renekton and the Silas both with Last Stand, and that's what those champions are famous for, turning around 1v2s or surprising heals from Call of the Meek or the Kingslayer on the side of the jungle Silas. So Little fun thing there, and a little option you might consider in solo queue. For now, at least, Gimgoon being very respectful. It's a full topside clear from Tian, going for the quick level 3. Silas does have a lot of trouble even clearing the jungle without 3 abilities to be able to spam up his passive.
Gimgoon respectful for now. We'll see if he can put on some pressure, especially before that Vladimir does get up and running to that level 9.
Oh, it's the new Yasuo skin.
Yeah.
The final boss Yasuo, all right.
Looks nice. Very shiny.
No sellout over here. Not Riot casters, by the way.
By the way, that Teemo figurine, limited edition, it's very popular here. It's got the X's
Could we
on his
interest
eyes.
the stream in the exclusive Rift Rivals mouse pad available only at the store here? Just come on down. I'm sure you're all within walking distance of Zhangcheng Arena.
I
and
picked
Seoul.
one up myself. But
if we talk about the games, it might be sadder. So we'll just do some sellout for now.
I appreciate that. Maybe get myself some dead Teemos. There's gonna be a few dead champions.
You know,
Oh,
this game is definitely building towards some crazy team fights that could be pretty bloody, but for now we know that Zhuhao is most interested in just farming, so he's a bit of a hater of the kill a minute action.
That was a nice ward here. Gimgoon having good vision of Zhuhao on the top side of the map. And it allows, you know, Tian to be able to do his work bot side, but great trade on him.
Conqueror was the decision here from Gimgoon, which is much more for the extended all-in rather than the press the attack you might have assumed for the burst trades. Renekton can proc that entirely with his W if he has enough rage. Speaking of rage, this might be rage-inducing.
no vision here. He has to flash away. They do get the knock-up, but we're just at level 4. But that is still a successful gank to take that summoner away from Null.
Yeah, early summoner, and Null is finding it incredibly difficult to fully shove this wave into the turret. Doinb is going to have this freeze, it seems. At least took this wave across, but this is tough for Null. I mean, remember, one of the greatest things at FPX here is being able to time summoners, be able to come back ganks on the mid lane, so already having a tough time here.
And I don't like Zhuhao's pathing. He's thinking about, can I find an angle on top side, when he should be pathing to mid lane and doing the one thing Nocturne can do, Pre6. It can help you push. He's got an AoE pushing spell that he uses to clear the waves, so
oh, no.
He's not helping his mid lane, and now we're having a bot lane party, and Dashing Buffalo only now start to get the full information.
You can see it was just a simple trade from the bottom side. On the side of Fun Plus, Phoenix was able to press the attack onto that Ezreal. Fortunately for Figaro, he is able to get a bunch of his health back.
That is the most aggressive control ward you could ever imagine to be placed at 5 minutes. He puts a control ward on the enemy side. He knows that Nocturne is pathing towards the top side because he hasn't been shown anywhere, so he must be going for the Krugs. The counting of camps and when they respawn is a pretty standard thing to do. But Zhuhao not helping with the push in mid lane suits Doinb just fine, and of course the bot lane was able to be the profit from it as well.
At least Big Koro and Pallet are able to sustain throughout these trades. Seems like Tian's going to be able to get him here.
All right, nice spell shield there. Going to keep him alive for now, but here comes Doinb, and he's level 6. He's looking for it, and the wind wall is perfect. There's that flash on in, and Zhuhao doesn't have much left available, but the fear will come in. It might be enough.
No way.
He's doing it.
I spoke too early. Another spell shield, though, comes in, but the knockup from that Silas, as you mentioned, and he might survive. No, Null is going to put him in his grave finally, and it looks like Chris might just pay for it as well on the backside. A double kill here for Null in the mid lane.
Great comeback. It just seemed like Doinb and Tian had a one-track mindset to get that kill. Zhuhao played it as well as he could with the spell shield. At least they were able to get something back from it, but take a look at this.
And Zhuhao level 5, the spell shield, like you mentioned, is great because it actually opens up space, but you can tell what Doinb is trying to do here. He's in front of the Korean crowd, never played in Korea, as a player who right now, I think it doesn't require an LPL analyst to say this, I think he's probably the best player to have never made Worlds that is around and still playing the game. He's trying to prove himself to the domestic fans here, going for style by trying to make people in Korea speak Doinb with the same reverence they do in China, but it's far, far too forced. In the end, will it matter? Maybe no, but for now, it's a kill trade up for Dashing Buffalo.
You can see him, he was trying to dash in and out of the turret range. He ended up taking so many turret shots on the backside. Maybe if they could have juggled the aggro a little bit better, it would have looked a little bit less inty, you could say there, or forced is another way to put it, in that dive. But either way, I mean, they're just looking for kills. That was only at 6 minutes.
Does mean that Zhuhao, very surprisingly, gets to level 6 and without too much damage to his name. Died once, but it was a trade-up overall from FBX. And now you wonder, with some summoners on cooldown, Lux not good against gap close and can't scout out with the E and Nocturne as easily.
And a lot of those summoners were expended because of that play. I mean, no flash on the Yasuo. If we're just talking about how to be able to set up a gank through mid, yeah, both Sleepy Trouble Bubble and the Nocturne Fear should be fine at being able to take down that one cleanse and still make the gank happen. So that's something to take a look at, but Zhuhao seems to be looking bot lane.
We're level 6 and we're fighting. No flash, no heal on the Lux in the bottom lane. Final chapter trying to be red here. It is going to lock him down. Can FLICKR do the damage is the question.
One more.
X is going to force to be flashed away, but here comes the TP. After he goes down, can Gimgoon do it all by himself? He's looking for the Ezreal. The flash comes through, and he will at least be able to pick up one kill.
They send the bleeding a little bit, but that's a nice setup. We talked about how Lux is a very likely recipient of an aggressive gank. A lost chapter actually only came up from the kill credit involvement from Ayumi. Teleport comes in. Lane swap from Lucian. Could try to stay here for 10 minutes, and the Rift Herald. And Raizo just wants to get out, wants to push this one and shove. This could be a big momentum shift towards FBX. They can go, send all members bot side, and then group with Lucian and take the Rift Herald to get the Infernal and off-spawn Rift Herald duo basically instantly.
Yeah, it did look a little bit messy, of course. The Nocturne kind of doing his job, but they dive all the way in. They get the response kill, and those big objectives you mentioned were picked up by FPX.
And take a look at this once again. You already mentioned Summoner off of Lux, easy gank to come across. Well executed by both the Lost Chapter, or Final Chapter is, alongside Big Crow to make the second kill happen. The teleport came in, would seem a bit late. They didn't think that the kill would come through on the LWX, and at least Gimgoon gets a trade across.
You're right in just terms of, yay, we got a kill, we're not being wiped.
Yeah.
But it is another full minion wave to Vladimir as he gets closer and closer to level 9, so you don't even feel ideal about it. Gimgoon just wanted to pick up the kill, and sometimes staving momentum can be an important thing. First use of the paranoia, always something we inspect these globals. It was a good one. The second use is very clearly going to be in bot side as Zhuhao is on in the camp and then some.
Yeah, Flash is still down by Crisp. Same with Doomby. The opening is still available, so
Heal
let's see if we can get another one.
Heal Guardian is up. Something to remember. Here we go.
Again. He's out of vision, so they got to go on the Lucian here. Final chapter will lock him down. And LWX with no flashes here, and they might just get a 2-for-1. Not quite, as the Q is going to go wide from the Ezreal, but another successful gank in the bottom lane.
By hook or by crook, they do it. They have to land everything. Not everything is clean, but they get the kill. This was very transparent to the side of FBX, and yet it was still successful. And why is Crisp still here?
He needs to get out, but at least he has Tien around.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, Zhuhao, you went a little bit too far this time around, and now the final chapter. They're under the turret. Thankfully, they have some minions, but here comes Tien. He's thinking about it here. Nice amount of burst damage. Will be able to take down FLICKR as Crisp is going to come in and take that kill. And oh boy, we're killing the cats in the bot lane. No mercy for the cat down there. So a bunch of extra kills go the way of FPX after that big time dive.
And you know what? We needed extra context. Why he's still there. Quickly, the Silas showed why.
Yeah, it comes right down bot lane. Remember, he has Conquerors, easy trade to be able not just protect them, but to keep them firm, keep them steady. The pick up on the Final Chapter ultimate. Nice bait. I didn't expect the flash. When Nocturne flashed over, ended up paying for it.
Choose one adjective to describe that level of baiting, Raz.
Unfortunate.
I would have chosen masterful, but
yeah.
This was a really extended chase here. FLICKR is dying. Sadly, the cat doesn't have flasher boots, so you know what? You're going to die here.
Yeah.
What is there to say?
Oh.
What did we miss on the top side, though?
Well, he went in here.
Perhaps a kill, as, oh boy, Raizo got a little bit too close there. Had to flash away.
Nice moment overall from Gimgoon, though, with no Ignite, obviously, to finish off the kill. We talked about the earlier 10-minute potential to pick up this Rift Herald. We're not too far from there. FBX, since they turned the map, are trying to dominate it.
And you can see that big Koro and Paladin downstairs. And, well, Zhuhao, all alone, he takes the Paranoia, but is not going to use that ultimate just yet. TP comes in from those guys as Gimgoon is already just disengaging, looking to catch the wave down bot after the Rift Herald goes the way of FPX.
But this is what you were alluding to, Papa Smithia, the fact that they can just play back to the top side Rift Herald, end up picking it up for themselves, looming over, just in case nothing ends up happening.
Doinb seems to be positioning more for the outplay than anything, and again, can understand that with kind of the level and the feel of the game so far today. Dashing Buffalo still in this one, only 500 gold behind, but the two objectives, Infernal and Rift Herald. Rift Herald probably represents money soon. And speaking of money soon.
Wow, really? Is that where you're going to be throwing that?
That's pretty good scouting, honestly.
Yeah.
Good idea. As, okay, Rift Herald comes in. Final chapter going to be red to Gimgoon here, but he's looking to turn it around. As Pallet, where are you going? You got to stick to your friend there. They will eventually get the Renekton, but that's just going to be it as Doinb, he's on a mission here going all the way in the back line, will be punished for it. Tien will at least be able to lock him down with the help of Crisp as they are really trying to show off here in this game.
Yeah, punished heavily. Doinb goes over the wall, but at least they can say that they took the mid lane turret because the Rift Herald did the work for them.
Gank Rush. Nope, not a Gank Rush. Definitely not Fnatic Rush is what we got going on over here. Ryzo will get away from it. It is killer minute action. We've kind of been craving this for a lot of the tournament. We start with the replay here, and the big thing is that this final chapter was a bit of a page turner. They went through it really quickly, and it was quick reading, and the cat dies to start things off.
Yeah, the Sustainer Renekton actually kept them in it a lot longer, so FPX had a chance to take this fight, but take a look at the pathing here from Doinb. Still wants to be able to get out, probably just wants to E through the double members.
I mean, you call it pathing. He just kind of went into three people.
What are we looking for, boys?
I mean, a little bit more foresight into how strong he was and how many enemies there were. Am I asking for too much, Raz?
Yes.
Okay.
Doinb has one mission. He picks Yasuo. He's here to make the YouTube highlight price.
I mean, I think he just should have renamed.
He's not going to run away.
He should have just been going forward this game instead of Doinb. Because he is super aggressive, super on point, trying to make that big moment. Dashing Buffalo pushing through the top side, but as a reaction, FBX picking up a lot of gold.
Absolutely. So, nice little push up here in the top side. Gimgoon gonna shut that down. Take a look at the difference in plates down in the bottom side. That's a cool 960 going the way of FPX.
And a cool 0 going the way of Dashing Buffalo. I mean, this is the potential 0-11 game.
That was literally just the worst Buffalo in a China shop. Plates just kept alive.
Well, here we go. 4-on-1. Can they do it? The answer is going to be yes, as Pallet was tanking the majority of that turret somehow.
FPX trading up on the bot side, though. Starting to get into that festival atmosphere that some of the games have been played on. Lucian at the play the Rune King mark. Renekton dead, so right now the lane buster build isn't going to mean much, and Ryzo has the same sort of items we saw from Noguri before he really started to turn on the styles, so there's always that hope, always that prayer that Vladimir can just carry a team almost solo in the late game. Gonna watch this replay. There's 4 members here, and Gimgoon definitely overstayed.
Yeah, I thought he could outplay there. Remember, clearing out the wave, at least protecting the turret, keeping his team, getting their good base times off in the bot side of the map.
Your glass is really half full over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your cup is runneth over, you might say. Well, that was, that's a decision you could make, and Gimgoon has to live with it for the rest of his long career. All going to push through mid-side. Look, playing to the Zoe lane might help with sieging, because right now, with no turret behind her, you can't be as cute at trying to poke around win walls when you make the wrong move and Yasuo all-in potential is super high.
Yeah, now just casually picking up 3-0-1 scoreline so far, and you can tell now with the Ludens that he's looking for opportunities, but here comes the flank. Gimgoon looking to come into the backside. Paranoia trying to just get out of the way of that Renekton, and it looks like perhaps the disengage as the final chapter will lock down Doinb, and stop him from coming in.
Very clean, disengaged paranoia use. Read the situation well, to credit to him, because he was able to both waste the time of the flanking Renekton and also use the ult to taxi him into a defensive position overall. So nice little play there.
They can just rehash that play, Dashing Buffaloes that is, just around the mid lane, being able to chip down that turret. So understanding that the side lane was a possibility coming in from Renekton. That's 2 times now that Renekton on side trying to come in for a flank has been cut off. So Gimgoon getting a bit frustrated here.
Still Dashing Buffalo can reset the map for now. If you look at the control wards, Dashing Buffalo in a pretty decent spot with those. It has been kind of a conspicuous thing today as the vision level and has been down and the aggression level up, which sometimes is a reflection of your opposition and your confidence coming into a game. Why waste the vision when you can put it into damage that kills people? Speaking of, Tian trying his chances.
Yeah, as we mentioned, we were talking about Doinby just going face forward. Tian, if he has the Yasuo nearby, he'll at least force the pool to get away from that Vladimir.
I mean, this is just good lane assignment here from FPX. Vladimir can't do much to be able to join his team underneath his tower consistently. And LWX, though, he might get opened up on his section mid lane just so they can get constant trade on Big Kuro. But, I mean, you can just see Chris was roaming around with the jungle, so had an opportunity to be able to isolate LWX.
And Noel has a lot of items, CS for CS, but the 3 kills his way, 300 bounty. A lot of gold already on. It's not double pen, it is the CDR boots. I'm sure that's going to be useful with flashes in this game, but just a point of order there. They can't trifle around the Zoe too much. Xiuhao being chased.
Good last second spell shield once again. It's been a very key ability for the Nocturne. We were kind of surprised to see that Nocturne come in here a little bit out of meta, but so far it's been good to at least escape the Sylas aggression.
And there are comps that I think Nocturne can definitely be exploited if you can baby him through laning phase, and if you can baby Sejuani, why not a Nocturne is kind of the thing you could ask on that. Lux, for example, as a champion, has always been shut down by gap closers like the Nocturne. Varus 80 carry, for example, is still being mixed in, so there still is going to be scenarios where that works. But here, with so much teamfight and brawl, the Nocturne timing can be turned on really, really easy. Throw up the gold difference graph. Does show you that even though a lot of the map looks pretty kind to Dashing Buffalo, the items are still in FPX's favor.
Yeah, they're having a fun time. They also did pick up that Infernal Drake earlier on from that messy fight that we did have in the bottom side. Also a Cloud Drake, a second one here. Looking to be picked up currently by Tian and Crisp right now.
Yeah, no contest for this Cloud Dragon, but all eyes are on Xiuhao. Possibility to be able to go on top of Renekton. Don't think they have an eyes on him, but one thing I really want to see is, Dashing Buffalo taking advantage on FPX trying to take on side lane. Putting Doinby on the bot side with a Vladimir may seem okay, but really hard to catch out the Nocturne on Vision when he has his ultimate up and locked in. One more level before he can put another rank. I think this is just a great position for Dashing Buffaloes, honestly.
I actually appreciate, though, Doinby's item choice has gone Sterix second. We actually see PD full damage recently, and this is a build that kind of left the meta a little bit. It allows you to overextend. If you're going to lead with your face as Yasuo, go the tankier build that lets you kind of fish for your knock-up a bit more aggressively. We already talked about how he can't just chill and wait for a Gragas barrel. He does have to have no chill in the fights, so the build fits it. And if you're going to try and play 3 lanes with no TP on the Yasuo, it does make sense.
Definitely is a feel-good build here, as Dashing Buffalo just trying to make the most use of their Zoe as possible. See if they can get any picks down, and now they're looking for a potential pick onto Gimgoon.
Here we go.
Ryzo just gonna run straight at him here. Here comes the Nocturne. Hemoplague already down. Flash into the turret, but Ryzo, he's not messing around. Xiuhao wants to tank it up, but the stun comes in.
No way!
And the health regen is gonna be enough, and Gimgoon will shut him down underneath the turret.
That's what we were hoping for from Xiuhao and Ryzo, but when it comes to the execution, just completely blown away by Gimgoon.
It's almost like they were shouting, by the way, Nocturne's coming in, as they came up for the gank. And by the time they went in, Nocturne could only tank the turret for the Vladimir to finish off the kill. We were eye-opened by how much damage it opened, but it didn't have the lethal dose at the end. Renekton turns around a gank. Who's to say that's a surprise? Tian fishing, but doesn't find any more.
And the Renekton, I mean, we just talked about it earlier today. You don't want a 2-on-1 or Renekton, even underneath the turret, especially underneath the turret. And that one was kind of a 1v1 under the turret at least. And Gimgoon from ahead showing why that Renekton has some power and why it's picked so often.
But that's the key point. The turret needs to be taken down. If we're talking about Nocturne opening up lanes, those lanes need to be open. And so Renekton being able to just turtle up underneath tower in that 2v2. If Suhao was simply able to join his friend there, then that's great. That's fine. Gimgoon should be dead.
And for example, if there was a ward in the brush and they were able to dive in on the Nocturne and get, say, 300 damage off, there would have been a kill. But at about 200, falls to 100 health, Gimgoon comes in. The Call of the Meat gives you a casual 400 worth of healing. The plan was just too transparent. Speaking of plans.
Oh, good read on the binding there, Chris. He wanted his own highlight from this one as here comes the Silas from the other side. And now it is just the landslide of FPX rolling over Dashing Buffalo. Rizo all alone, somehow able to pick up LWX on the backside, but that's 4-1 in favor of FPX.
Happened real quick just off the replay, so I was wondering if they wanted to be able to go for the inhibitor turrets, but with Vladimir just sitting there, easy Baron to pick up.
And it's been the LPL special today. A bit of an indifferent 20 minutes into decisive fight, Baron, and game closer. That's what they've been looking for with their tanks. The turret dive potential is huge from FPX, and that Baron buff is an afterthought.
Down it does go. Rizo just doing whatever he can, which is, he will get this tier 1 mid turret, but it is nothing compared to what Fun Plus Phoenix just picked up.
And this is what you hate to see happen, because Suhao has been escaping for so long, but flashing straight into it.
Flash binding, beautiful from Crisp. That's the reason they get all of this, and the stolen away hijacked ultimate allows for the eventual chase. Gimgoon this time is under a turret, but this one's an enemy one. This one's under his own terms.
And sits there, tanks it up, casual stun right onto that back line. And yeah, I mean the Nocturne into the Silas may be early on, but when you're behind, TN just says, hey, I can be Nocturne as well.
I think some of the Korean fans who were in the audience today probably bought a ticket to see one of their heroes in Rookie and the Shy or Duke play. Seeming unlikely, guys. The 0-11, the specter of it, is looming large. Gimgoon can't just burst down Vladimir. That's not an easy thing to do, but who's going to catch who in transition here as we fight through the red side jungle?
Looking for the final chapter again. A blasting plan is going to be a big savior as now Tian taking a bunch of damage on the backside. Nice little dash away. He's gonna just laugh at him as he gets away from that one.
The silent lane right now is top lane. Yasuo is being left to this one. Of course, Zoe finally joins, but with all that damage being placed down, here's another opening.
All right, just trying to force it here. It feels like, where is the damage? Where is it coming from? I don't see any of it as they're full health on the red side here. Suhao immediately gonna go down after that GA. You can see Rizo desperately trying to do some damage, but now he's all alone. And this is really just a one-slided landslide over to FPX again.
They saw the Renekton, and the moment you have eyes on that and Vladimir can't pursue forward, it just seems all hope is lost.
It does appear that way for the LMS VCS combo and specifically for Dashing Buffalo FPX, just like in game number 1. LPL team gets Baron, they're styling. It seems like right now, the match timer will extend, but the pace of this game has really been one way ever since the Baron went down.
Take a look at the replay. You can see they're just desperately trying to get damage down onto the AD carry, but there was none.
Yeah, it's just a solo dive in, and the healing from the redemption just turns it instantly, and suddenly everyone's out of position. Gimgoon's scouted by a Mystic shot, but still does so much work on the bottom side of this fight.
I mean, just the light bindings consistently from Chris landing there too, because even though the final chapter was able to just stun 2 members, I mean, what are you going to be doing as Nocturne? You can't follow up with you just sitting there.
Always looking for new adjectives, and Crisp is aptly named for this game. He has been on point with his skill shot accuracy on the Lux, one of the now super standard meta picks in the support role. Baron buff power play. It isn't quite what we saw in game number 1, but 4,500 without breaking into a sweat.
It does feel similar, maybe not as able to close the game as fast as that game number 2, but it's kind of just barring into I'm going to roll my face over the keyboard.
Oh boy.
Kill you a bunch of times. As nice footwork there from Null. He's at least able to get away. He's had a decent game, but not too much support from his team so far.
And now Dashing Buffalo have one roll of the dice left, or they will just watch on like Flash Wolves and lose the game around them. Final Spark, not going to be a lot of damage from the support roll, but we're running out of objectives to defend on the side of Dashing Buffalo.
One thing that's fine is FPX doesn't have a bot lane wave to roll with. They're going to be throwing Renekton now at it, but they're the type of team, if they just have 2 waves, 2 lanes, they'll just commit to the dive. So with the build that we have already, Asterix Gage from, you already mentioned, and Duembi, he's more than willing to look for it.
I mean, the guy's just packing up all the different swords and gloves and everything. He's just having a grand old time building whatever item he wants. Has a ton of CS already at 28 minutes into the game. And once again, it just feels like the LPL came in here to play, whereas can't really say the same on the opposite side. It has been one-sided today.
And it's disappointing because the LMS was reinforced by the VCS to have a bit more competition after last year not really being able to find anything. Flash Wolves found, I believe, 1 or 2 game victories. No other team did. Paranoia popped, and this is a stolen one.
Looking for it on the backside here is TN. Not quite gonna dive as, okay, stop watch. Let's see if the damage can come out. Good flash away as Raizo is gonna have to get out of there himself. But yeah, kind of just playing with their food, going super deep looking for kills.
Just trying to skip steps to end the game faster as FBX, but again, to finish the point, they brought in the VCS side to amp up the squad, so to have a worse result than last year where only Flash Wolves could pick up game victories is obviously very, very disappointing for, you know, a region that is the combination of the newest major region and, of course, a World Championship region now 7 years ago in the LMS.
We will have to wait and see what they can do as the years come along, but right now, the message is being sent. The LPL is the strongest region amongst these two. We are going to have to wait and see.
I was like, you're an LCK caster. What you doing, mate?
Yeah.
Speaking of.
Well, you know, LWX wants to believe it, but okay. They're going to take the GA away here. At least, as you can see, kind of just desperately save his teammate, but can't really do much of that either. As Good not even going to lose that GA. And that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, second Baron is on the Rift. Feels like FBX can fall back to whatever objective they want. Dashing Buffalo.
Oh, okay, nice amount of burst damage here, even from the Yuumi. Just easily going to sidestep that one, though, as Binding just to keep them away. Baron's available, so FPX gonna set up for that now as, oh boy, where you going, Yuumi? You're all alone. And Duembi's looking for the kill, but it's stolen again by TN.
Died before the Yasuo ultimate animation come off, but no, watch yourself.
Oh boy, where are you going? Underneath the turret, they're not stopping as in goes LWX. They want all the kills, a huge amount of health regen, but TN is gonna go down as finally the ace will come through on the side of FPX.
Yeah, and it looks like the doors are closing with the wave being pushed up here too. All you have is how to defend yourself.
That is absolutely not going to be enough. At 31 minutes here, it looks like the LPL on the backs of FPX to finish it off will be taking game number 3 and will earn a spot into our final day of Rift Rivals tomorrow against the LCK.
And that means 3 years in a row, Rift Rivals' final day has been a best of 5 between the LCK and the LPL. We saw it coming, of course, coming into a day where LMS and VCS had recorded no victories. The 0-11 is in fact real. So unfortunately, the VCS top 2 seeds jumping in the spot of the 3 and 4 seed from the LMS haven't done anything to bolster their chances.
You're right, and the sad reality is the previous Rift Rivals event, the leader of the LMS region at the time was that Flash Rolls that has dominated internationally, but with that being deconstructed, really is just a rebuilding period for the region.
And of course, fans will always throw across terms that we always try to hold. For example, teams as chokers. We always try to really give a team multiple chances before we use something like that. But non-competitive is another one, and 0-11 is unfortunately the definition of non-competitive. It does feel like the real League of Legends will be solved tomorrow.
Yeah.
We should have a really great best of 5, even though the LPL teams, it's one of those weird scenarios where if you just look at their own play, all 3 teams were a little bit disappointing. I would imagine you would echo this, Raz, when I pass it over to you. However, given the opposition level they were playing, how much can you really infer from today is also kind of an open question.
I saw adaptations being made, and it is very difficult to be able to see it when you already made the mention of, you know, non-competitive. But just through the drafting points alone, FPX being able to, you know, go through that flex on solo lanes, you know, flexing the Renekton as they did of old, and just being able to take the raw fights whenever they saw it possible so they weren't over-respecting the enemy team. That's what you love to be able to see from teams like FPX, Top Esports, that we'll see again certainly tomorrow.
Going over some of the highlight package here. By the end, it was just honestly what we saw, I guess, from the start. The moment that Doinby was diving in between 2 turrets early in the game as Yasuo with no knock-up synergy, you knew what kind of a game this would be. FPX back away, and we knew that Baron was on the menu. The pallet face-checking, he's not even within W range of his ally. So I think that's a bit of a breakdown in communication between the usually very reliable bot lane duo.
DT Doinby finally gets to press that R button for a second time, maybe a third time this game. Gets it off, just for a split second there, gets the kill, but then stolen away. And after that, it was just, once again, pressing all your buttons, as Atlas likes to say, smacking them with their wallets.
Yeah.
They were so far ahead at this point in time that it was just, we're diving, we're going face forward. And now, we are going to hear from another member of this team. I'm going to hand it over to the interview.
대싱 버팔로를 꺾고 LPL을 결승으로 이끈 펀플럭스 피닉스의 티안 선수 보셨습니다. 그럼 첫 번째로 3대0 완승으로 결승에 진출한 소감 여쭤볼게요. Congratulations on the win. It was a clean sweep of LPL, so how do you feel right now?
首先恭喜你取得比赛胜利，然后这次的比赛也是3-0 LPL 取得胜利，你现在感觉怎么样？
感觉还不够吧，我们要好好准备明天的比赛。
He thinks this is not enough. They need to work harder to prepare for tomorrow's matchup.
아직 충분하지 않고 내일 있는 결승전 대회를 위해서 더 열심히 준비해야 한다고 합니다. 그럼 내일 만나게 된 LCK에 대한 LPL의 전력 평가 한번 들어볼게요. Then what do the LPL teams think of LCK? How strong they are and what their weaknesses are?
那也想听你评价一下你们明天的对手 LCK 赛区，然后想问一下，你觉得他们强吗？他们有什么弱点吗
？LCK 整体感觉都很强。弱点的话我不知道，所以明天我们看场上的表现。
Well, he thinks LCK is very strong as a region. As for weakness, he can't notice any. He'll have to see tomorrow.
네, LCK가 정말 강한 지역이라고 생각하고 아무런 약점을 발견하지 못했다고 합니다. 그래서 내일 상대해봐야 될 것 같다고 하는데요. 그럼 가장 경계되는 팀이 있는지도 한번 여쭤볼게요. Then is there any specific team that he worries of?
也想问一下你有没有哪支队伍明天碰上你会比较担心？
其实每一支队伍碰上我们都会就是全力以赴。要说有担心的话，其实应该最担心的应该是遇到格里芬吧。
You think all the teams are very strong? If he has to pick a team that he worries a little, it will be Griffin. Griffin.
만약에 모든 팀들이 정말 강해 보이기 때문에 가장 경계되는 팀을 고르라고 한다면 그리핀일 거라고 하는데요. 그럼 마지막으로 3년 연속 LPL의 리프트 라이벌즈 우승이 꼭 탐나는 타이틀일 텐데 각오 한마디 듣겠습니다. So I believe all the LPL teams really want the back-to-back title of Rift Rivals. So any resolution going into tomorrow's finals?
对，那么 LPL 在过去2届 Rift Rival 都达到的冠军，那么我们一定也知道 LPL 肯定想拿第3次冠军。那想问一下你们。明天会有怎么样的办法去取得这个胜利？
就打好自己的，我觉得我们应该会赢。
He think they will just have to play their best. If they do that, they have a chance of winning.
네, 무조건 최선을 다해야 하고 그렇다면 기회가 있을 것이라고 합니다. 여기까지가 FPX의 티안 선수였습니다. 谢谢.
Well, there you do have it. A good interview once again. And yeah, we're going to take a look at some post-game stats. Forgot to put those up there before the interview, but here you do go. Doenby didn't do a lot of damage, but his team certainly rolled over Dash and Buffalo.
He tanked a lot of turret shots, so he's got that going for him. And like you say, 31 minutes was the final timer, but that one puts the LMS VCS out of the tournament, and now we can only look forward to what should be just an awesome best-of-5 tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like the last game that we saw in the group stage, IG versus SKT, we're going to be seeing that like a lot. A lot of these teams.
Give me 5 of those, mate.
Yeah.
Give me 5.
I was so excited. The last Rift Rivals that we were at, of course, was in China. It was super fun to see. You know, the passion that we were able to see out of, you know, Doenby in particular, that gave LPL the lifeline to go into the final game where RNG was that team.
Oh, yeah.
That was emotional for everybody at that event, and I feel like we need to replicate that.
And it's still stuff that's left on the Rift from the Korean side of why wasn't it KT Rolster who were undefeated at that tournament? Why was it the FLICKR Freaks that were thrown in? The LCK has never won a Rift Rivals, and the LPL has come from this match to win Rift Rivals 2 years ago. So there's open business here, and I think we all sat there 2 years ago and didn't really know where Rift Rivals fit, whether it was EU, NA, or the Asian side of the coin. But in those 2 years since, you know, the LPL won that one, and then outside of World Finals, really kind of took over the world until MSI and G2 were able to push forward. So I think this is kind of must win from the LCK side, and from the LPL side, they also want to show that the semifinals at MSI were a blip and not the start of a new chapter.
Because honestly, we're just going for that three-peat. And on top of that, Rift Rivals has always been that event that showed not only to the Chinese audience, but to the world that LPL was on the up and up, that really the depth of talent was there. The teams were only getting better, and it was really just like a last hurrah for them to be able to make international success. And then you obviously got to see what happened last year in 2018. So for us going into the third one, being able to lock that in, especially in Seoul, Korea, would mean a lot.
It was my favorite best-of-5 to cast last year was that final. It's so unique, a best-of-5 with potentially, you know, 4 different teams rolling out and showing their wares. If it goes full 5 games, we're going to have plenty of highlight moments. So that's kind of my greedy hope for tomorrow, is a lot of competition, because sadly today, underwhelming on the competition side. I would say that LMS VCS teams were competitive for 10 to 12 minutes of these games, but you know, when it fell away precariously, and the LPL were just too good.
Yeah, I mean, this is, as you mentioned it before, not very competitive. So we'll hope for those good games tomorrow. I'll be watching. Atlas is going to join for that cast with you two guys, but it definitely does feel like this time a true Rift rivalry between these two regions. You know, all the things you guys were mentioning, the build-up between these two regions. The LCK kind of falling off. They want to prove it here against some of these super strong LPL teams that are looking to stay on top.
And it seemed like the LPL strategy for today came true, which was hide what you have. We saw Kanavi coming in from JDG. They didn't want to showcase too much. We saw from the second game as well, Moyu coming into the top lane. They said, hey, we just want to see the second strategy. We're not seeing the second strategy for tomorrow. We're seeing the primary strategy going up against the LCK.
And hopefully that means that they're scheming for ways to counter the LCK, because remember, the onus is on them. The group stage is very one-sided to the LCK outside of that final game between SKT and IG. So if they were able to look past the LMS and have been prepping for 2 days, we could have all sorts of dark techniques. Remember, Doenby's Kled and Doenby's magical picks lit up the arena in China last year, and there's a real chance he can do it again.
The special thing about this one, because of course we already saw, you know, the Kled coming in from Rascal. It's beautiful for...
It's personal.
It is.
Yeah.
And even best, but when Doenby made the switch to Rogue Warriors to this team, he moved from being the only Kled player to having 2 Kled players on the same team. So there's a lot to be expecting here just based off the draft alone.
I know you might be disappointed, guys, with today, but tomorrow's best-of-5 really could be outstanding. There's nothing like Rift Rivals, Asia Finals, 4 big teams, all of which can realistically take games off each other. That's what hype's made of.
Yeah, even if you're not usually watching these two regions, I mean, it's just going to be such a fantastic taste of what
Tickets
could be
sold out in like an hour for that final day.
This entire place is going to be filled up. I know right now it doesn't look very filled. Everybody kind of leaving quickly, maybe like halfway through that last game. But tomorrow, people are going to come early. Everybody's going to be here. It's going to be super packed out. I just can't wait to see the games tomorrow. They're going to be awesome.
Yeah, don't take our word for it. Come in tomorrow, join in the stream. It'll be a different experience for sure.
Yeah, and I think that, with 4.5K seats with what I'm hearing, and the last time with how loud the crowd was in
when
Dalian.
Doinby's Kled got over the line, it was insane. We couldn't hear each other. FLICKR and Atlas and I couldn't hear each other. It was that crazy.
So we got to have to see it tomorrow. It's the day to be putting on your calendar.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, guys. Thank you for joining us here tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for the last day of Riff Rivals.